guarantee that.
Another huge issue here is Travis can just -3 this Hero of Dominaria, get rid of the solitary confinement, and then just kill with this, I assume, is a shark token there.
And
well, Noah generating
frisky.
a lot of mana. 1, 2, 3. That is a Sanctum Weaver, I believe.
Oh, that is.
So it's tapping for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So let's see what happens
and
here.
It's of any color, if I remember it.
Yes, it is. Yep, you choose.
Probably, I mean, realistically, probably white.
Yes, white was very likely the name, unless Noah wanted an absurd amount of green mana, which is possible, but I think it is more likely that it was white, especially with the Hall of Heliod's Generosity in play. Yeah, and it looks like he's going to use that Hall.
Okay. The Sterling Grove.
And that's exactly what you need. Pretty good.
So Noah's guaranteeing that he's got the enchantment on top of the library.
And that's
which
big.
Is what we were
needs
talking
that
about.
To protect from the Teferi Minus here.
Yep.
That's a great play. Great play. Blow that up, shuffle that away. Smart. Very good play there from Travis. I love it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Travis.
Neither am I. Yeah, I'm not either. To be fair, I'm not super familiar with a lot of. Oh, you know what? Actually, if I later when I look, I think Travis used to play at the Gaming Warehouse. Actually, so I may actually know Travis Cole. I would have to see his face. I slightly recognize the name.
You can't recognize him from his hands?
I can't.
Oh,
I can't. I'm not great at recognizing people by their hands, typically.
It's a skill. It's a gift, really.
It sounds like a good skill, one that I do not possess.
It's a second solitary.
Second confinement is real good here. It's fine. I mean,
it's not great, but it does lock up the fact that he's protected.
If Travis is playing well, he'll tuck the Enchantress's Presence here and force Noah to either discard both his cards or sack at least one of the confinements.
Yeah, if
Noah's in a terrible
he minuses
position.
On the Enchantress's Presence, the game's kind of locked up.
Yeah. Noah will really need an incredible sequence to get out of this. Travis just needs to tuck down on the Presence. It's pretty much that simple. Should be a good spot for him. Yeah.
Reading Travis? The confinement, making sure he's familiar with it.
Okay. And now I can kind of see his face a little bit. Yeah, I don't really recognize Travis.
I could tell just by his hands.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, we'll see if Travis can find the line here. Just tuck the Presence, Travis. Tuck that Presence. Use the Hero of Dominaria.
I mean, also, I'm not...
Here we go.
If I'm Travis...
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it. Great blue-white playing here from Travis. Not only was the field an excellent play, but this tuck was an excellent play. Really respect that a lot.
Oh, that's a Delta.
Yep. And Travis...
Oh, yeah. Activate...
put Kihira
in hand.
Sure. I mean, if you have nothing else to do, why not?
Is Baby Shark going to get in there? I would have tagged just to
show him who's boss.
That's right.
All right,
Sometimes
so
you got
Noah's sacking one and then needs to discard a card. If he's keeping one, he needs to discard a card.
Yeah, he's in a really rough spot.
I think Noah may be missing this because he hasn't discarded his card yet. Oh, maybe he's thinking. Maybe he's thinking if he wants to keep it and discard or if he wants to sack it.
So there is a play. He could let it go to graveyard and then
buy it back and put it back.
But
seems not good.
That seems like a waste of your mana.
You're not generating cards.
No one needs to find a way.
And then Teferi can tuck it and kill you as well. So that certainly is not going to be the line. I think he just needs to sack it and take a draw step. I can't imagine that keeping this and discarding is going to win.
Yeah, when you get Enchantress in this 2 to 3 card state, and they're like,
and they're kind of fumbling around. And I don't know if we mentioned this yet. Noah is our bounty tonight. A fellow teammate here playing Nonsense Enchantress is the bounty, and he's down a game to Travis Cole, which honestly is kind of exciting. I like seeing the bounty down a game in match 1.
I'm going to be asking Noah a little bit later how he plans on exiling that Hedron alignment.
I'm curious.
I'm very
curious as well. I wonder, it could be a main deck Force Negation.
I mean, could have some more nonsense in there.
I'm sure. Prismatic Ending.
Could O-ring his own.
That's probably what it is. That must be what it is. Yeah. That's the one that makes sense. That would fit the theme of this deck, and that probably is what the plan is.
That seems like a horrible plan.
Oh, it's awful. It's complete awful nonsense.
It does sound like Dumpster Fire Noah would play, though.
It does. And it doesn't make the deck that much worse, if we're being honest. Like,
no,
I don't know what
actually, to be honest, it's not that bad of a card. It is I mean, it's a horrible win condition.
It's terrible. Let's not beat around the bush. We're not kidding ourselves.
But
it's very bad.
The fact that giving the ability to scry every turn, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Especially in a deck that you're just looking for
specific cards.
Just very specific pieces. You're trying to lock it up.
Yep.
Enchantress is, it's a control deck.
It is. Yep. Prisoner control. It's kind of like both.
It's not good at either one.
Nope. It's fine. It's fine at doing either.
It is one of the few decks in Modern that can just hard cast a Emrakul.
It is. Yep. Easily. They can actually do it very easily if they're not interrupted.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. Not many decks can do that. Not many decks can say they can do that either. So kind of cool. And they do it without Tron lands. All right, so looks like our players here going ahead, getting shuffled up, getting ready for game 2. If you were to guess, Andrew, who do you think is favored in this matchup?
Let's not kid ourselves. It's blue-white.
Yeah, I agree with that. Blue-white just has so many... Prismatic Ending is so good against this deck. I've had a very good amount of success with elementals against this deck, and largely due to 4 copies of Prismatic Ending. Just a second here while we're adjusting some of our microphone settings.
I think that's going to be much better.
Good.
And Danny, can you give us the thumbs up if you can hear us better?
Yep, his thumb went up.
Excellent.
Okay, so getting shuffled up. I agree, blue-white is favored, though, like we were saying a second ago. Blue-white is just such a strong deck. And the thing that is very critical against Enchantress, do not let them establish their card draw engines. If you can keep Sithis and Presence off the board, the deck fumbles around and doesn't do anything.
They need two.
Yeah. They especially need one, or their deck does literal nothing. And if they get 2, then they really can start snowballing. So the idea is just do not let them snowball. Travis probably bringing in some more counter spells, which are also just very good against
Noah's playing Sithis. I'm shocked.
I'm just shocked. Yeah, stunner. But yeah, so you need to keep those card draw engines off the board. Travis is going to bring in more copies of things like, if he has more counter spells in his sideboard, those will be coming in.
Also, disenchant effects.
Force negation, disenchant, maybe a fracturing gust as a single copy.
Just very powerful.
Yeah, that card's incredible.
That's
engineered explosives.
And obviously, obviously those are great cards. And but the real thing is the problem with the Enchantress deck is the creatures that it plays also enchantments.
Yep.
You double up on everything.
Yes, you do.
Everything's doubled up.
And it looks like Noah's taking a mulligan here, probably because he's playing Hedron alignment in his deck. Probably looked at a hand with 2 of those and said, no, thank you. I wish this was whatever else it would have been. Yeah. So Travis keeping 7, also very bad for Noah. The key for Noah is probably Utopia Sprawl on 1, and then Presence on 2 is about the best imaginable start, I think. Or Utopia Sprawl on 1, Sithis plus like Abundant Growth or another Sprawl on 2 would be exactly what Noah's looking for here. You want to get on the board very quickly. You want to establish fast because you want to get under Counterspell or Negate or Veto. Although Veto's not super... Is Veto just instant or sorcery? I forget. Or is it not?
Veto's non-creature.
Non-creature. So Veto would be very good. And Noah kept a medium hand. No one-mana play at all. That is not where you want to be.
Could be a turn 2 Sithis would be fine. A
turn 2 Sithis is fine. It'll get under Counterspell.
And that might be what he's actually just doing. And that's for those who don't know, that is a secret layer. Shockland.
Yep. I would imagine Travis probably going to have cards like Solitude still in the deck because Solitude deals with both Sithis and... Well, it actually deals with a lot of things. It deals with the 2/3, the Weaver, which makes everything uncounterable, which is a huge card in the matchup.
Noah, probably didn't mean to do this, but if Travis got a lot of information there by him showing that he would willingly go for the Temple Garden,
and then changed his mind.
And changed his mind to go with a basic
for Blood Moon.
No, not necessarily that.
I think Blood Moon. Honestly, that was probably the cut for
by showing he's going for the Temple Garden. It means he doesn't have any of the enchantment, like the on thin ice or just the snow enchantments.
Fair. Actually, I bet you Blood Moon is what he cut for Hedron alignment. That would make sense to me.
Yeah, because he's got to generate the blue somehow.
Yep. Got to generate the blue, and
which I think is a huge mistake. I think Enchantress is the best Blood Moon deck in Modern.
It's a very good Blood Moon deck. Ooh, Travis just saying go.
He's just holding up counterspell. He is in no position to make a move.
Yeah, well, there's a Sithis in play, so a little awkward that he can't deal with this. And here comes Sanctum Weaver.
That's a good one.
Gain life, draw a card. And so Travis.
So Noah's got the two cards you want.
Yeah.
The two creatures you want. Anyways.
Noah, though, missing a land drop. Travis fetching. And I would love to see Travis here just a third land, play 3-mana Tef, bounce either one. Probably bounce Sithis.
Yeah, you want to bounce the Sithis because, granted, the Sanctum Weaver generates mana. But I think that I would. Now, talking out loud, I think I would bounce the Sanctum Weaver.
It's close.
Cut him off mana.
It's close. You get to keep the Teferi if you bounce the Sithis, which is interesting. I don't know how relevant that is, but we'll see what happens here. Travis is going to take his draw step. Going to play his land. He's going to tap 3 mana. It's probably a Teferi. It is a Teferi. What are we bouncing?
Okay. He went with your line, so that way the Teferi stays in play.
Teferi stays in play, but also I think just not giving Noah cards is a good decision. Sanctum Weaver's not particularly threatening yet.
Also, I think this Teferi in play is a little bit more important than
it might seem.
Yeah, absolutely, because having instant speed, prismatic ending seems pretty good.
Subtlety. That is, I love that.
Something very subtle about it.
I'm interested that force was the pitch, but I do love. I mean, subtlety, just doing what subtlety does there, just being.
And that force negation should be in exile.
Yes, it should.
Could be relevant.
A 1-mana play is that? I think it was potentially a sprawl. Can't tell if Noah drew there. It could be an abundant. Okay, Travis. Back over to his turn. He's going to play land, say go. This could definitely be either Archmage's Charm, Cryptic Command, a lot of things this could be. Cryptic Command to be gross. Noah, I'm surprised. It's
2 mana to sit this.
That's an Archmage's Charm. Get out of here. Another Sanctum Weaver, or is that the... No, that's the uncounterable thing. And now is where Travis is really going to want like a sweeper. A sweeper here would just be absolute gasoline. Supreme Verdict would be nuts. Noah, though, I mean, the Weaver is obviously very good. Definitely a card that Noah wants in this matchup.
Yeah, it's really the only card that he has that he can put like total pressure.
Yeah.
Really, I think that let's be honest here. He's not winning with Hedron alignment in this matchup.
No.
There's a chance in a slow in a more
against Jund mid-range or something.
And granted, controls a mid-range deck, but it's on the you can't play plan.
Yeah.
Oh,
is that a 5 minutes fair?
Brutal.
Now, what is...
You draw, you untap.
If we have prismatic ending, I think this game's over.
Yeah.
If we get to untap 2 lands and instant speed ending, yep, and it looks like he is going to do that. I love this. That is just... Get out of here. You don't need mana. I don't care that I can't counter your spells because you only have 2 mana right now. Yeah, this is a terrible position for Noah. The 3-mana Teferi represents bounce, draw a card as well. So you need to pressure both these walkers. They're both a huge issue. I would imagine Noah's going to come at Teferi Hero, but then the 3-mana Teferi is just going to get to generate another card and just send Noah even further back. I think we might see our fellow teammate fall here 2-0 in round 1. Our bounty.
Pretty.
He's going at 3-mana Teferi. I think I like that play from Noah because the unsummon there would have just been so brutal. He's got to do this.
Yeah, Noah's got to get access to 5 mana. That's the key right here. 5 mana. That way he can use the 4, activate Sanctum Weaver to make one of his lands big.
Yeah.
To just get in.
Yep.
And really, it's not even that big. It's only 2/2.
Let's be honest. That's almost certainly not going to happen either. With this 5 minutes Teferi, probably just going to be plussing every single turn. Travis is drawing 2 cards.
That is a Blood Moon, though.
Okay. Now, how bad does that hurt?
Almost none.
Yeah, especially because he can always just Teferi tough the Blood Moon if it is that bad. And apparently it was that bad. He's minusing. Okay, that could be a misstep from Travis. Better have an answer.
I think if you're Noah, you just go right at Big Tef.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, no question. So that's a Sterling Grove, and that can't be
That's
counted.
big game.
All right, so Travis needs to respond here with an instant speed ending or a Solitude or something. There it is, Solitude. Boom. Get out of here, Sanctum Weaver. I would like you to gain some life, Noah, but I would like your Sanctum Weaver off the board, please. Put it in the exile zone. That's just absolute guess from Travis here. Noah in huge trouble. Yep, 3 back to 20 from Travis, getting the pressure. Both Teferis now in great position.
I mean, Noah's starting to get his lands in play, but
yeah,
Travis being under no pressure.
Also, the Solitude's about to be a 4/3 with Vigilance, which is going to be a real issue too. Noah in big trouble. His spells can be countered again.
Yeah, which I mean that's Sanctum Weaver is just big game in that.
The second Sterling Grove.
This is huge. This is huge. It makes the other Sterling Grove have Shroud.
It does, but Travis really doesn't probably care. I wouldn't care about this at all.
I would, because this is a huge deal. From this point, if he gets a Sanctum Weaver in play,
that's true. Did he counter?
No.
Interesting.
Looks like he doesn't care.
I still think Travis is going to be okay, but we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Noah's in a really rough spot. Noah is probably going to have to sack one of these to go get a presence or something and just pray. Unless he has another Weaver in his hand.
I think if he gets a Sanctum Weaver...
If he has another Weaver, he has a shot.
That's a Blood Moon.
That's a moon, and it's just going to eat a counter spell.
Yep. Could have saw that one coming.
I'm going to be honest. I guess... Yeah, you might as well counter it. Here comes an attack for 7. Noah's on a 2-turn clock.
Yeah. So Noah needs to really get something going right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I even really liked counterspelling the Blood Moon, to be honest. He still could have cast counterspell in the following turn anyway.
I think he doesn't have white.
Fair. Oh, Field of Ruin, interesting. I don't know that I would have done that. I don't like that either. That didn't matter. That land didn't matter. Oh, yeah. Wait. Oh, no. Never mind. I thought the Blood Moon was in play. I'm a goofball. I also do not like
this. This is Cryptic Mana if a Blood Moon does resolve, but if Noah plays Blood Moon, he's dead.
Yeah, Noah must play, I think, Sanctum Weaver into something else.
That's why I wouldn't care about the Blood Moon.
Right. Yeah, the Blood Moon just wasn't relevant because we still had to. There's a confinement. I mean, we counter it if we have one. Yep. See you later, and Noah's dead.
Yeah.
So Noah getting 2-0'd here in round 1 with his little brew, which really isn't a brew. I mean, it's Enchantress with a couple nonsense cards, which is classic F&M stuff. I've done some of that before too. Like I said earlier, I played a Quicken and Storm for a while just to screw around.
Oh, and there's the chokes, the stonies, all the good stuff.
Some tools.
Curious what the stonies for.
Yeah, I don't like stony really at all. Oh, it's for EE. It's for EE. Okay, I get it. Makes sense. EE is so devastating.
Well, Noah's more familiar with the Enchantress deck than we are.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, like I said, if EE happens, you're done. I mean, EE is so disgusting against Enchantress. But, like we said, I think it's kind of a rough matchup, and we kind of saw that there. I mean, Noah just really couldn't do anything in that game.
Yeah.
Travis had some decent cards.
It's just like we were talking about during sideboard. Enchantress needs to set up key cards to get going.
And he couldn't do it. No. He just couldn't set them up. Travis did a really good job of keeping the board clean. And
if you can disrupt 1 or 2 cards, usually you're in pretty good shape.
We'll have to see if we can get Travis over here for maybe a little post-match interview. I'm curious what he thinks of the matchup. I know Noah has said that he actually thinks the control matchup is good for Enchantress, which we clearly both disagree with that. We've been saying that.
I think if he gets to land a Blood Moon and if he lands the Blood Moon, and has the Grove in play,
if he plays against an inexperienced control player, it might be a fine matchup. But good control players, I think, are generally going to eat this deck alive.
I agree.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what blue-white control does. You know
right.
what I mean?
If you're a strong, that is a really good deck to play if you are playing good Magic for sure. Just like, I mean, really that's true with a lot of decks.
Always
obviously.
good. Always good in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
That is a sweet deck box.
It is a really cool deck box there, definitely.
I'm a little jealous, I'm not going to lie.
Here go the dice. Some nice dice, too. Look like some sweet purple. Yeah, so we'll see if we can get Travis over here for an interview. He got a pack for beating our bounty player there, I think. So that's exciting for him. But, yeah, that was rough. Noah got pretty handled in this match. We'll see if the rest of the night goes better for him.
He definitely did. How does Larry say it? Raffle stomped.
Yeah, raffle stomped, bodied, annihilated, dominated. All those words would.
A lot of adjectives.
Suffice.
A lot of adjectives.
All right, and it looks like we've got Travis over here for the post-match interview. So, how's it going, Travis?
It's going well. You want me to sit there?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, take a seat. So first, what do you think of that matchup for you? Assuming he's not playing the silly blue card, obviously, because I think that makes the matchup significantly better when he's playing 4 cards that just are kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, interesting to say the least.
I thought it was my first time playing that matchup.
Okay.
So I don't have a lot of experience. I felt like I needed to be aggressive against him and make sure I was boarding in threats. I brought in another Shark Typhoon and Subtlety for that reason, because I thought if he could get his engine going in order to get a card advantage engine, then I would fall behind.
Okay.
So I needed to be disruptive and end the game before he could assemble that.
Gotcha, okay. You and I played a few weeks ago, didn't we, Travis?
I believe we did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. You were playing Control that week, too. I didn't remember earlier when I saw your name, but now that you're over here and we're doing the interview, I remember. I was playing Elementals that week.
Yeah, that matchup's the bane of my existence.
That matchup can be really tough, for sure. Yeah. Especially, I think, in the second game I had Cavern, which is really tough.
Very good.
Tough to beat. But yeah, man, that was a really sweet match. Andrew and I were kind of talking. We said you kind of just ran him over in game 2.
Yeah, I agree. He wasn't able to get another land drop down. I evoked Subtlety in order to make sure that he couldn't get down his Enchantress.
That was really good. Yeah, that was a really smart play. We were talking about how the key for you in that matchup is obviously be able to deal with the Weaver, anything that can deal with the Weaver, and still counter things, and then just keep the card draw engines off the board. And if you can do that, the matchup is quite good for you.
I agree.
And it looked, obviously, game 2, I mean, we kind of saw that. He took a mull to 6, but I mean, that happens part of Magic, especially in Modern. And yeah, I mean, really, he just didn't really get to set anything up. Once you dealt with that Sanctum Weaver, you're just kind of able to counter everything and take over the game. So, and they gave you a prize pack for taking him down, right? Because he was the bounty tonight.
Yeah, Noah's a great player. He's very inventive with his builds. But I know he does very well with Tron on weeks he wants to play very seriously. So.
That's fair. Yep. Did you think he'd be playing Tron tonight? Did you have any idea what he'd be playing tonight?
I did not expect him to play Enchantress. No, I've seen him on Tron. I've heard him give advice to that, but I know that's not his only deck.
Oh, yeah. So. He kind of switches up at FNM every week. It feels like he's playing deck. I think last week he was playing Monkey. He's dubbed it Monkey Time, which is Hammer Time with Agavan.
He's monkeying around.
Yeah, he is really monkeying around. But good job, Travis. Congratulations on the round 1 win. Enjoy your pack, and hopefully maybe you can be the bounty next week if you can keep winning out here. So
thanks. Fingers crossed.
Yep. Keep controlling people. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, what is...
It is O-Ring.
It is Oblivion Ring, yeah. And I told you, once you brought that up, I was like, yeah, that makes sense in this archetype. It's still terrible. Oh, it's still awful. You know, when you're playing O-Ring to hit your own cards, something weird is going on. And usually terrible. I mean, that is rough. Yeah, Noah's just screwing around. Hopefully it won't cost him too much. With Blood Moon still being in the deck, I have no idea what his cut might have been from his deck.
I thought I saw him cut a Sanctum. Or not Sanctum Weaver,
that makes sense. That's a win. I assume Emrakul's not in the deck now because he's doing this silliness.
I'm sure that's one of the cuts.
Yeah, so that's 2, and then we need 2 other Hedron alignments. So who knows what he cut from there? Well, maybe we'll talk to him. Maybe we'll talk to him later about it.
The next deck.
Are we going to see zombies? Because I heard some whispering.
Zombies.
And I loved it. Me and Larry, we both if you've watched our channel, the Swish Gaming channel, we've played some zombies in multiple formats. I drove out and did an episode with Zach Allen on making magic happen for RIW. I did some Pioneer zombies with him versus some of the one of the good decks at that time. I think it was Citadel deck, Citadel, and against at that time Sultai mid-range as well. Larry and I have played it countless times. Well, not countless, but a lot of times in Historic. We've done at least, I think, 3 or 4 videos with it. I actually played it.
They got some really good tools in Innistrad.
Really good tools.
What's the one that generates a zombie token?
Yeah. So I forget the name of that one. It's a 2-drop human, but every turn. Yeah. Let me see if I can find the name of that one. I'm sure most people who follow the format, that limited format, know what card we're talking about. But let's figure this out here.
Busted.
Yeah, it's super good. The fact that it continually makes zombies for Champion of the Perished, which is another card that the deck got. It continually makes zombies for Champion of the Perished, which is awesome. Let's see here. Midnight Hunt spoilers. Just gonna kind of go look at these cards. I just forget the name. And let's see here. We're gonna go black.
I know we actually have some people jamming Legacy on the side. Maybe we can get them on camera during the interim.
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it's Jadar Ghoulcaller of Nephalia. And for those that don't know what it does, like I said, it's a 1 generic, 1 black human wizard. At the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. So essentially what you're doing with this card is you play it on turn 2, and it's a 1-drop, or excuse me, it's a 1/1 for 2 mana that on your end step will then generate a 2/2 Decayed zombie, which can do all sorts of things depending on what is in the zombie deck list. It could be a Blood Artist deck, so you could be getting triggers from losing Decayed tokens with cards like Blood Artist. You know, obviously I talked about what it does with Champion of the Perished, which for those that don't know, Champion of the Perished is the 1 mana black 1/1 zombie. Whenever another zombie you control enters the battlefield, put +1/+1 counter on it. It's just like Champion of the Parish, which is the human that does the exact same thing as this card, but it triggers on humans instead of zombies, and it's a 1 mana.
It's a modern staple.
It is. It's excellent. It was a standard staple too. I mean, and I totally believe Champion of the Parish will see a good amount of play in standard at some point. It's just too good. It also is worth noting. It already exists alongside another 1 mana black 2/1 in standard, which is from the last set. I forget the name of it, but it's a 2/1. It's a zombie. It can return itself if you've completed a dungeon. That's probably not going to be relevant, but it's just going to be good enough as a 1 mana 2/1 aggressive black creature. Obviously, we were just talking about the 2-drop. That is also legal in standard. And if this deck just gets a little more tools...
Zombies has always been a little, just a couple cards short.
It's usually, well, in Modern especially. In Standard, though, what we saw happen last time when Zombies became really good is it kind of just needed those last sets to get busted. And I feel like we could definitely just see that happen again. I feel like Zombies is really, really close. And as we get, Crimson Vow and some of the other sets coming in the future in Standard, I think Mono Black Zombies, or maybe it'll play another color. Maybe it'll play Blue Black for the Lord that gives them all +1/+0. But I think there's a lot of potential. And it looks like we got Noah Huizinga playing Burn.
Oh, this is Larry Fields playing against Brandon Darnell. This is Legacy.
Okay, the names haven't changed. Gotcha. So we got Larry playing some Burn Classic versus Darnell.
And Darnell is
on Doomsday.
I believe, if my math is correct, he should be at 13 right now.
Okay.
And for those who don't know what the card Doomsday does, you get to search your library for your graveyard, your entire deck.
Yeah.
For 5 cards.
You exile the rest.
Exile the rest. You put those 5 cards. Those 5 cards become your deck. You can put them in any order. The whole idea is to just combo off and win the game with Thassa's Orb.
It used to be Lab Maniac, right? Before they printed.
It's always had multiple win conditions.
Okay.
Labman's one of them. I'm trying to think of what the other ones were.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can't think off the top of my head.
Okay.
It does have a really cute combo with Sheldock Isle.
Okay, what would that be?
Emrakul.
Oh. Gross.
Yeah, so put your deck to 5 cards. Top card being Shelldock Isle. Put Shelldock Isle into play. Put Emrakul underneath. Take 2 turns. Bang, bang. Done.
That's pretty funny. Okay. Very cool. It's kind of an interesting win condition to have if you play against like Show and Tell or something too, because then you just put in this Emrakul. Whoops. Looks like I had an Emrakul. Sorry.
So I was talking with Brandon. This is like the worst matchup apparently.
It's super bad. Yeah, it's not great.
For those who were watching the stream yesterday, Brandon raffle stomped me quite a bit when I was on Ninjas.
That's fair. And then he was also raffle stomping you when you were playing Band.
Well, we don't talk about that. That deck's unplayable.
And I said, hold on a minute, Delver. I've had enough of your tyranny. I'm gonna 2-0 you real quick.
That Band deck's unplayable. I'm sorry.
And then I lost in our post-board game after we played those 2 games. So I was 2-1 against him. I think my board plan was really awkward.
My problem is I just wasn't painting the room.
I mean, yeah.
When I was on,
that's what you do. Just paint.
Painting it blue, painting it black, whatever I was feeling.
Yeah, whatever. Painter's Servant. It's an artifact. It's what you like to play. It's artifacts.
Well,
fits
I don't know.
Well.
It doesn't make them brown cards anymore.
That's fair. That is fair.
I'm really good at those brown cards.
Yeah. Yeah, the Snow deck was pretty cool, actually. I enjoyed playing it quite a bit. It was very fun. Legacy's a fun format. Yeah. I think before I ever play a Legacy event, though, especially if I play Brainstorm, I would definitely need to up my pace of play in Legacy, because I can't play at the same pace that I play Modern and Legacy. I think there are too many decisions on every single turn.
Legacy is the format that requires the most decision points.
Right.
Especially with Brandon's deck. Where you got, your entire deck is like, you got to figure out which pile you're going to do.
Yeah.
Now that they got Thassa's Oracle, the pile's a lot easier to manage. But still a challenging deck to play to 100% efficiency.
Yeah.
And Legacy is all about maximizing all your resources.
Which is why Days is so good in Legacy, is because everyone is trying to be hyper efficient, trying to play cards on curve, very cheap cards usually. That's why Delver just crushes people with Days.
For sure.
Days is just so good. And to be fair, Days would be disgusting in Modern. And really, it would also be disgusting. It's just a really insane counterspell. Honestly, it's so good for tempo.
And for those interested in the Legacy format, we are going to start doing Legacy every Sunday.
We are.
Galactic Toys.
Kind of like our, it's going to be like an F&M on Sunday.
Kind of, yeah.
Which will be pretty neat. Hopefully we can get at least a reasonable amount of people out here for that. I'd love to see, 15.
I would love to see 15.
15
we used to get about 10 to 12 people for Legacy every Friday.
Over at Gaming Warehouse?
Oh, here.
Here
Fridays,
okay. I didn't know we did it over here.
Ooh, that is exquisite Firecraft.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, it can be countered. It can be.
Oh, it can be right now, yeah.
And Darnell's a little bit upset by that one.
Larry, you can just tell Larry's
having a good time.
Larry's just being a total jerk about it.
Well,
he's laughing in his face.
Larry's good. He's a good burn player, though.
By the body language, man. Larry's just throwing it in his face.
And Darnell had a really cheeky 5. It was land into Thassa's Oracle.
That's funny.
So he was banking on
the guides revealing the lands. Yeah,
that's really cheeky.
That is cheeky. Yeah, smart. But also, it would have been smart of Larry to just read that potentially and just not even attack. Can you imagine how nasty that could have been?
We have a real treat for me. This is Westwindfolk.
What is this?
What card is this?
I think it's I don't know if it's Peregrine Falcon or.
Peregrine Falcon in a different language.
It's German.
Yeah. German.
It's Falcon. It's a Falcon.
What does this card do?
It's a 1/1 with flying. Let's figure out what the rest of it does.
Is that it? All right. I don't read German, so.
You don't read?
Oh, Zephyr Falcon. It's got vigilance.
Flying
of
vigilance.
Course.
Yep.
Of course.
I see.
Zephyr Falcon. And this is if I'm not mistaken, a 5th edition one?
Yeah. Original printing is, what's the date at the bottom?
It is a 95, which that would line up with 5th edition.
Yep.
And 1/1 vigilant flying creature. Back in the day, hot.
I mean, creatures used to be like pretty garbage in Magic,
Yeah.
right? Like way back in the day. So a card like this.
Oh, this is a legend staple.
I see. So a card like this in the past would have been a lot better, just because creatures used to be so much worse. Like Raging Goblin used to be like a staple.
Well, if we remember back in the day, and
when Raging Goblin was printed, it was the most aggressive red creature that had ever been
right,
printed.
and it was for those that don't know, Raging Goblin is simply 1 red, 1/1 haste.
Yeah,
that's it.
And to show how like the difference in what we played now.
Oh yeah.
Sarah Avatar. Nate loves to tell the story about how that was the best creature ever printed when it came out. It was a 2020.
Okay.
The most expensive card in Urza Saga, the same set featuring Gaia's Cradle, Sarah's Sanctum. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine a Sarah Avatar costing more than a Gaia's Cradle.
Okay.
But it was the thing back then.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a thing.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
So were duels for like $10 though.
Kurt Ape was.
Kurt Ape, powerful magic. Same thing with what's the 3/3 that is for 1 green? If you control plains and mountain.
Wild Mikado.
Wild Mikado, too strong.
I mean, Mikado was banned in Modern for a while. It was on the ban list for multiple years before they finally decided, hey, this should not be here.
To be fair, though, like when I was learning how to play Modern, your deck had to pass the Goblin Guide test.
Right.
You had to be able to answer Goblin Guide by like turn 3, or if you couldn't, you were just dead.
You lose.
Because Burn was a top tier deck.
Yeah, and honestly, Burn has just like been a top tier deck for a long time. It's just one of those decks that.
And what I like to always remind people is the tier is not based on how good a deck is; it's based on popularity.
Right.
And Burn is always just rock solid.
It does
what it does.
Yeah, we talked earlier about how Legacy and Modern are about hyper efficiency, and Burn is very good at just being hyper efficient.
Yeah, and
just plays
really
lands and deploys its whole hand.
The funny thing about the Legacy Burn deck is it's not too far off from just being the Modern Burn deck.
No, it's not. You get some really big upgrades like Price of Progress and Fire Blast.
I don't even think they play those anymore.
They play
Fire Blast.
I
don't think they play Price anymore.
That's interesting.
I think the deck is just there's
evolved.
Just too many good cards.
Too many good ones now. What is this?
That is
a lightning?
That is a lava spike. And it followed by a lightning bolt.
And there's Darnell cards down. Leary said I still had all these in my hands.
That goes to show what happens when you make your life total 10 instead of 20.
Yeah, rough matchup for Brandon for sure.
Yeah, if you fetch even 1 time, suddenly you have the clock. It's just insane.
Yep.
Just insane.
Yeah, not great.
But if you're trying to get into the legacy, cheap deck.
Very cheap deck.
Cheap deck. I think actually we did price it out. I think it's like $200.
Yeah, I actually day 2'd back when SCG used to have the 2-day opens. I day 2'd one of those legacy opens with Burn.
It's just good.
And I had not played the format much at all, but I had played Modern, so I kind of knew how to play Burn.
Well, Burn beats up on Delver.
It does, and that was one of the reasons I thought it was maybe good enough. And once I got into day 2, obviously that was really good for me because once you're in day 2, you play against a lot more Delver. Funny enough, I lost to an eventual top 8 player on Infect, and one of the really funny stories about this game was I obviously I didn't know Legacy that much, and I had played against Infect in Modern.
Very different in Legacy.
So Berserk, for those that don't know what Berserk does, it says target attacking creature gets plus, what is it? Do you double its power and toughness? I think you double
power and toughness.
Any attacking creature's power and toughness.
Yeah, specifically has to be attacking.
It does. I attacked my opponent with a Grim Lava Mancer.
Mistake.
It was a huge mistake because he
berserked
my creature, which I did not realize was a thing you could do. And I lost this game. This guy eventually top-8'd the event.
A lot of really powerful cards in Legacy have symmetrical effects that you can use on yourself, or
which is unusual.
It is like Goblin Welder is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Where Goblin, we all know Goblin Engineer, where you pick up an artifact from your graveyard.
Yeah.
Welder says anywhere.
Yeah.
Either any player, so you can really mess people up.
Yeah. So I lost, obviously, to this guy who eventually top 8's. funny enough, Byrne also top 8'd this event, though. There was a local, I believe, Michigan player who top 8'd with a Byrne deck, which was kind of cool. But yeah, no, Byrne is actually right now probably fairly well positioned with how good Delver is. Because we were talking the other day about how at that Legacy Pit event, Delver was like 485 of the, I don't know how many people were at that.
It was almost, I think it was either a 300 or 400 person event.
Oh, it was,
which is huge. It's huge.
So the data must have been from maybe
I think it was 400 if I remember it.
Okay.
But that's still huge.
Yeah, and I don't know what the metagame share was at that specific event. Do you?
I talked about it with Adam. Delver and I believe it was Bant were each about 10% of the metagame.
Oh, only 10. That's not that bad.
I'm not sure. We don't work here, man. No, you're
okay.
You're good.
They're
over there, man.
Yeah. So, here's Larry pausing him again. Kill you. Maybe not. Force a will. Does Larry have another? Oh, nope, he doesn't. Larry might be dying here. But yeah. So, again, Byrne feels like it might be an okay deck right now, for sure.
Yeah, I think
its Bant matchup can't be very good.
Its Bant matchup's got to be bad.
Rough.
Death and Taxes seems like a pretty good matchup for Byrne.
I think so. Yeah, you need to be able to kill the turn 1 mom. It's very important.
And especially with it being an 80 card.
That helps a lot.
We're not going to be a dead horse if you listen to.
Yeah, go ahead and listen to our podcast if you want to hear
for sure.
a little bit about that.
And I share the same opinions that Steven does, where I think it really just clogs the deck up a little bit. But
I mean, honestly, I didn't say this on the podcast in as much as I think it's just lazy deck building is what it is. It's just people not getting, being disciplined in their deck building and knowing what cards they need. And I think it's a little bit lazy. It's some copycat stuff going on. There's a reason that I play 60 in Modern too. You just figure out, you don't need to play all 4 of them.
You need to target the metagame a little bit harder.
Right, target the metagame.
80 card is more of a wider spread.
If you figure out what cards you need in your deck, you shouldn't really even need to play Recruiter at all. You could maybe play 1 or 2. You certainly don't need 4, because we talked about how slow and clunky that card can be, and that is very detrimental in matchups.
And reducing your percentage with turn 1 Vial is huge.
Well, that's the
to me
thing
is
I
the slam
mentioned on
dunk.
the podcast is just Vial is everything in D&T. It is literally everything. You must the power level of the deck is just so different. Again, we talked about this on the podcast. I'm not going
to. Actually, interesting. Adam does bring up some good arguments, but overall, my opinion is just I would, if I was to play Taxes, I would play 60. But I mean, as far as Byrne against Taxes, I think it's just rock solid. I don't think you care.
It is. I will say, when I played Byrne at that SCG, I believe I did lose to D&T because at that time, that D&T player was sideboarding a Circle of Protection red. That was disgusting. For those that don't know what that one does, it's a 2-mana enchantment, and it reads, pay a white mana, and I believe you just prevent all damage from a red source of your choosing.
That is correct. A red source, yeah.
Yeah, any red source. So it is essentially pay a white, counter any burn spell, pay a white, nerf any of your creatures.
I don't think it's pay white, I think it's just 1.
Oh, you're right. It is 1. It's
because there's a circle for every color.
You're right. It is actually pay a colorless, which is even more ridiculous.
I believe they are all white as well. The circles are.
Are they?
I believe so. We have smartphones here. We can look it up real quick.
Circle of Protect. I guess that makes sense. There's a very white kind of effect.
Circle of Protections are all white.
Okay.
And there's one for
every color.
Every color Wooburg. There's also one. Name the other ones. See if you can name the other ones. There's 3 other ones. One of them's a meme.
Circle of Protection black.
Yep, Wooburg. So what are the 3 other ones, though?
What do you mean, I guess?
There's 3 other circles that protect you from specific things.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Circle of Protection artifacts?
That is one, yep.
Okay. Circle of Protection enchantments?
No.
Dang it. Okay. Circle of Protection... Let's see.
I'll give you the meme one.
Okay.
I'll give you the meme. Circle Protection art. When it comes to you choose an artist.
So that must be an unset card.
It is. It is. But there is one more that is from an old set. It's Tempest.
Tempest.
Think about a powerful mechanic back in that day that you need protection from.
Tempest.
I'll give you one more hint.
Okay.
They did reprint this mechanic in Modern Horizons 2 on a very powerful, popular card.
Modern Horizons 2. Huh. Redid the mechanic. Huh. I don't know.
Circle of Protection, Shadow.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's very cool.
Okay, so we've got Maggie Stangren here versus Aaron Garcia. Funny enough, I actually went to high school with Maggie Stangren, so I know them a little bit.
Maggie's a good player.
Maggie's definitely not too bad. They've certainly improved since when we were in high school. Maggie has been on Elementals.
Yeah,
right?
she's been a huge fan of Elementals. She was playing Elementals before Modern Horizons 2 and all their shenanigans.
Oh wow, okay.
So
I will say, Maggie's. Is that a Luris?
That is a Luris. So maybe,
so Maggie might have switched.
Elementals.
Maggie,
and what is that? We got a double kitty cat matchup.
Okay,
of
so
course,
I assume
it makes
Aaron's
sense.
playing zombies. I assume. Is my guess. I love it. So we'll have to see. Maybe Maggie's doing zombies though, because Maggie does like kind of doing their own thing sometimes. Like their Elementals list was definitely not stock. They were playing Ren and 6, which has kind of fallen way out of favor if you've paid attention to Canister at all. Kind of said you don't really want to play Ren and 6 anymore. Lightning Bolts before Bolt was like in Canister's list, I think. So Maggie definitely doesn't always play like the tier stuff. So Maggie could be the one actually.
Especially she does play some competitive stuff. She plays at a actual comp event.
Yeah.
But when it's F&M, it's usually a meme deck.
Yeah.
But her, like I said, she was doing the elemental thing long before people were on that. So
yeah, so we'll have to see. I'm going to take a guess and say Maggie's the one playing zombies. That's my assumption. But I could be wrong.
You would be wrong.
I would be wrong?
You would be wrong. Mr. Garcia is the one on zombies.
God.
So,
all right, Maggie. What's this? Is that a Ragavan? Ragavan. Maggie's playing tier cards this week. Oh, okay. DRC's still pretty tier. Still pretty tier.
Almost too good for Modern and Legacy.
Yeah. Pretty darn good. And I think, it looks like Maggie might actually be playing Sagavan.
Ooh, very cool.
Yep. Stomping Ground. Yeah. So this is going to be okay. And Aaron with an Aether Vial. And we know some of the shenanigans that might be coming from Aaron in the near future.
You know what? I wouldn't have thought to put Aether Vial. I don't know why I wouldn't have thought to put Aether Vial in zombies because it just makes sense.
You would have. We both knew we've talked about multiple times how good the new black 2-mana zombie is with Aether Vial.
That's fair. The kicker cards. Right.
And the black zombie. The
that card's disgusting.
That's going to be so good in this matchup too. If
it makes 2 zombies, if I remember right.
If Aaron is able to set this up, it's going to be really awesome. Tainted Adversary is the zombie that we're talking about.
I wonder. We don't have Aaron's list in front of us.
Maggie with a second Dragon Rage.
This could be big.
Oh yeah.
But I'm wondering if Aaron plays Relentless Dead in his deck. I'm assuming he would.
I would assume so as well.
I think that card's. I think the price obviously shot up when all the zombies and stuff because it's a zombie tribal thing.
Yeah.
But I think the card's kind of medium.
I agree. I would not play it.
No.
I would not play it. It's too slow.
I think if you're playing, Aaron should be on the hyper aggressive. I'm gonna dead you plan.
There's another problem with it too. You need black mana, I believe, to do its thing. And
it's
this
double black to play, and then all of its abilities are black.
And what is going to happen, I think, as we see zombies maybe take a spot as a potential player in Modern, is we're going to see it play a lot like humans does. And there is a
Relentless Dead.
There might even. There's Wayward Servant. Yep. Now, I think I told you about this card also.
It is the Blood Artist, if I remember right.
Well, it's even better than that. Whenever a zombie enters under your control, I think you might be right.
I think it's
certainly when they enter, you gain a life and they lose a life. So it drains, just like you said, Blood Artist. But I believe it's only enters. We'll have to look and
we can always check.
Yeah, we're going to check right now on
Wayward Servant.
I played a lot of Wayward Servant.
Good card.
Very good card.
Enters the battlefield under your control. Each one loses one if you gain a life. So it is an ETB trigger.
Yep.
As opposed to the Blood Artist. Still, powerful card.
Very good.
Especially with all the what's the new zombie mechanic? The one Decay. Especially with all the Decay zombies. Because they all just come into play all the time.
They come into play, yeah.
Ooh, that's a beautiful swan.
It is.
That is a Seb McKinnon
So
swap.
here comes the Wayward Servant. But Maggie is in really good position. I think Maggie has 2 lightning bolts in their hand, which is going to be really nasty here.
Also worthy of
She's
mention,
probably going to.
she played the Inquisition
Yes.
left on top. 2 triggers left on top.
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting. So here's the Thoughtseize, 2 triggers. Ooh, Aaron drew a 1-drop, though. That's pretty good.
Champion of the Parish? No, that's a Carrying Feeder. I think
Okay.
he had that in his hand.
That's fair. Well, there goes the Relentless Dead.
Relentless
2
Dead,
lands.
2 lands. Well, obviously we take the Relentless
Yes.
Dead. Unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Aaron in some big trouble here.
Remembering the trigger, though. Got to remember that trigger.
Yep.
Now, if we get a Tainted Adversary,
Very good. It'd be 3 bodies, 3 bodies, so it'd be a triple
insane.
drain. It'd be the Decayed Zombies are super good with Carrion Feeder.
Because they trigger.
They
It's a
trigger.
trigger. And
Yeah,
then
so
you eat some.
you get to attack. You get to attack, get the damage off them, and then sack them before they decay off.
Yep.
So that's pretty awesome.
It reminds me of back in the day when you put damage on the stack.
The deck should absolutely play Undead Augur, by the way. For those that don't know, Undead Augur is black. And it would be, I'm pretty sure, much better than Relentless Dead. It is black for a 2/2 zombie. Whenever a zombie you control dies, lose a life, draw a card.
That's insane. That's
So
insane.
good with the Decayed Zombies.
Yeah.
So it'll trigger off all them. You're able to mitigate that life loss with cards like Wayward Servant. It seems very good to me.
I mean,
And this deck needs some card advantage.
I used to play Mono Black Devotion, and the best card in that deck, by a mile,
was Phyrexian
was
Arena.
Arena.
Yeah, Arena is a really good card.
So good. And
I like playing Phyrexian Arena on MTG Arena still sometimes. What is this? Oh, a Dreadhorde Butcher.
A Dreadhorde Butcher.
I'm kind of into that. Maggie still doesn't have Delirium. Wait, Maggie's blocking. I hate this.
I would go to damage. Go to damage. Bam.
And now the trigger kills this.
Bam.
Yeah, I guess Maggie's kind of between a rock and a hard place there, because if you don't block, then the Butcher gets bigger. But the problem is, with blocking, you lose both channelers, and if you don't block, at most, Aaron can only kill one of them.
And I don't know about you, but if I'm committing to the block, I'm gonna block 1 on each, because that way you take no damage.
I agree.
But I agree with you, where I would just
not a good block.
I would just go. I would not. Don't even block.
Yeah,
don't even block.
Not a smart block there.
Especially because the Urza Saga is going to get way bigger than anything that Aaron does very quickly.
Yeah.
That is an unholy heat in Maggie's hand.
It is. So Aaron keeping it at 2.
I think that's the sweet spot for this deck.
I agree.
You just got to get that Tainted Adversary.
We know it's the sweet spot because there's Luris, which I believe is in Aaron's hand now, but which means there's nothing bigger than 2 in your deck. Which also seems really sweet. This could potentially be a player moving forward in Modern if people actually explore this archetype.
I think people just think it's too cute. But people thought Humans was too cute.
Oh, yeah.
And
I am pretty sure this deck will have some amount. The issue with this deck as opposed to Humans, though, is Humans, what makes Humans so potent,
the bodies have disruption effects.
That's the key. All the creatures are fine creatures on their own, but then they, like you said, they look at your opponent's hand, they give you information, you play cards like Meddling Mage to shut off like combo decks.
The Zombies deck is very good at getting bodies that is very good at board presence.
Yes.
If you're in a meta that depends on board presence,
yes,
you play your Tainted Adversary, you get a bunch of zombies, you have your Carrion Feeder, which can just get bigger than anything that your opponent does. I wouldn't actually hate, now that I'm thinking about this, I wouldn't hate an Urza Saga in this deck, in the Zombies deck.
Sure.
Now, hear me out on it, because you get Shadow Spear.
That'd be kind of cool.
Shadow Spear and Carrion Feeder seems, pretty good.
Yeah. What I think, maybe the Zombies deck is supposed to be like an Inquisition Thoughtseize deck, like kind of play more of a kind of mid-rangey game. I don't know. There are a lot of ways this deck can play.
I forgot about this ability from Relentless Dead. Oh no, never mind. I thought he was using an ability that put it right in his hand. I might be wrong.
Yeah,
I'm going to pull up Relentless Dead because it has a lot of attacks.
It has a lot of attacks.
And it was a very hyped card when it was first spoiled.
It was really good in Standard.
Relentless Dead, I know it's a 2/2. 2/2 with Menace. I forgot about that. When it dies, pay 1 black. If you do, return it to your hand. When Relentless Dead dies, pay X mana. If you do, return another target zombie creature card with converted X from your graveyard to your hand.
I like that one a lot. Does it have to be a zombie?
Graveyard to the battlefield.
Can it be any creature?
Any zombie.
Any zombie. So it can't revive. But that card's a lot better than I remember it being because it's just X colorless. So it doesn't even matter if you have the black. Now, obviously, Aaron's build here looks pretty black heavy with the fetches and things like that.
I would love to see an arena effect in this deck. Just like you were saying.
Undead Augur.
I
feel like this deck...
Or just play the arena.
Augur triggers on itself, too. So if your opponent
does?
Yes, it's any zombie. Any zombie can be a token.
Isn't there a zombie that causes a double edict effect, too? That edicts yourself and your opponent?
Yes.
Flashback Marauder. And that's modern legal.
It is. Oh, yeah. Absolutely illegal. Yep.
That'd probably be more of a sideboard card.
Yeah, but still, also you couldn't play it in the Lurrus build, but that's fine. Obviously, this deck has a lot of directions it could go.
I think, me personally, I don't think Zombie's a Lurrus deck.
Yeah, it probably isn't because you would maybe want to play the Lords and things too. You get a lot of
there's a lot of really good zombie tribal stuff. There's a enchantment, if I remember right, from Innistrad that makes zombies. It's 4 mana. I forget what it's called. I'll look it up real quick while they're playing. Search.
Yeah, really, there are many directions you can take this. But one thing is for sure, the deck should certainly, be playing Undead Augur. What I would really like to see in this deck too, a card that we haven't seen in a long time, but one that was incredible in Zombies and Standard, was actually Bloodthrone Vampire, which is legal in Modern. And for those that don't know, for those that remember Nantuko Husk, which was basically this same card but for 1 more mana and dominated in Standard in the Rally Ancestors combo decks, it's a 2 mana 1/1, 1 black, 1 colorless. It's a vampire, so it's not a zombie. A little awkward, but still, you can sack a creature and it gets +2/+2. So it'd be really sick with Decayed tokens. It'd be disgusting with Gravecrawler because you can continually loop sacking the Gravecrawler for as much mana as you have available. And if we have an Undead Augur, we're drawing a card every time we do this.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
One card, I'm just looking at zombie enchantments right now because I know there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
One of them that I always forget, it was a really hype card, Dreadhorde Invasion.
Ah, yeah.
So the Bitter Blossom, but for zombies.
Yeah, that one's
kind of cool.
That
seems pretty good in this. But
especially if we can continue that zombie. If we have ways to sack that and just keep getting a body off and getting advantage off it. Because I don't love the card when it's not generating multiple bodies. But if we're able to put a good amount of sack outlets in our deck, we can sack, and then if we have a card like Undead Augur, we're able to draw cards off this as well. The deck definitely needs a card advantage engine, I think. Now, funny enough, Aaron's having some good success right now, though. There's a Tidehollow Sculler in play, which as a zombie, I forgot about that.
It is. I think
really good.
I think this whole game was decided by that really bad block.
Yeah. Maggie really aggressive.
I think that was
for sure. And it what it did was Maggie was that's a bombardment. Goblin bombardment. That's a big yikes there.
So he was thinking on the enchantment train. He just was thinking of a different angle.
And that's really cool. And honestly, Bombardment might just be better than like Bloodthrone Vampire. Maybe this is even better. I don't know. But yeah, the block was really problematic for Maggie because it took Maggie off. Maggie was kind of the aggressor at that point, and as soon as Maggie did that, Maggie went on the defensive. And typically, being on the defensive when you're not like a control deck, or really in general, being on the defensive is usually not where you want to be.
No.
Once you start being the aggressor, usually that's a good spot, especially against the aggro deck. When you're in the position to be the aggressor against the aggro deck, you definitely want to take that. Because I can't imagine Aaron actually interacts that heavily with, that's a chump block. So I believe Maggie goes to 2, and then Bombardment says, see you later. Yeah.
Yep. Powerful.
Good work there from Aaron.
Goblin Bombardment's a heck of a Magic card. I'll be honest, I forgot that was a Modern Horizons too.
It is.
Powerful card.
Very powerful card. Very, very powerful.
That is very cool tech. I think I would bet you the red splat. Oh, I forgot he's got the Dreadhorde Butcher. So it's the red splash for the Dreadhorde Butcher and the Bombardment. And we did see a Bolt.
Yes.
So I mean, give yourself a little bit more extra damage.
I like that.
Aaron should take out the Loris from his deck if our spotter can remind him of that. So
that
we
would
have
be
a good match.
That'd be good. Yeah, it's F&M. Definitely worth reminding. For sure. I've made that mistake
many times.
Yeah, with Kahira and Luris. I've done it, I think, once. Actually,
that's
with
why
elementals.
That's why I've made mine the extended art, because it's the only card in my deck that's extended.
That helps. That helps.
So that way, when I'm like shuffling, because I'm a person that quickly shuffles through my deck when I'm sideboarding, and then I can see it go. Oh, there you go.
Smart. So, I would imagine Aaron may have a few more cards that can interact in the board. Maybe cards. Well, it won't be Flashback Marauder unless you're
found
committing. All right, good.
Good.
And hopefully.
Yep, let's show the kitty cat.
Yep. So
while they're sideboarding, topic of Luris, ban worthy in Modern?
Absolutely. I think it absolutely is ban worthy. I don't think they will ban it for a while.
I don't think they will. Not for,
they might eventually.
Not for a long while. But it's a card that me personally, I'm getting a little sick of seeing.
The mechanic is really bad.
I'm a little tired of seeing Luris.
Companion was a mistake. If we're being completely honest. The fact that any deck that plays a companion just has an 8th card in their hand, essentially, for free, is just broken.
There was an affinity deck that got top 8 of the Saturday Modern Challenge.
With Luris?
No.
Oh, with which companion?
Giganta.
Okay. Yeah, whatever.
It's a free roll. It's
I like 8 cards in every opener. Yeah. Makes mulligans way better. Funny enough, too, in Elementals, a lot of the times, Kahira is literally just discard fodder to Solitude. Like, you literally just want to put it in your hand at some point to discard it to the Solitude.
I saw it
because Omnath is just way better as a card.
Yeah, I was watching. I'm ashamed. I'm forgetting the pro player's name. Okay. He was playing Legacy.
Yeah.
And he put the Kahira in his hand for Brainstorm fodder.
Love it.
It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Because whatever, just add another card to your Brainstorm.
Yeah, that
seems
helps.
good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, the mechanic was just really bad. But I like that they tried it. It was a cool idea. I'm not saying it was a bad idea. But in practice, it's just too good, man. I mean, it just...
I think I'd really love to see it, one card in Modern, specifically. I'd love to see the Octopus.
Yes.
The Kraken, whatever it is.
Yeah, Gyruda.
Yeah. Woo! That card was sweet in, what was it? Pioneer. That deck, bring it back. Somebody bring it back. It's not banned in Pioneer.
Nope.
People just don't do it.
Yeah, the problem with it is it's like okay until people know it's a thing, and then it's terrible.
It's the Dredge Affinity thing where it's like,
right.
If nobody's sideboarding for you, you're golden.
I remember week 1 of Standard, everyone just thought that was like the stuff.
At the NRG event that I won, that was Pioneer.
Right.
I just was like, I'm just gonna play Burn. Yeah. I'm just gonna sling spells at you. And just turn things sideways.
So when I played that Standard when Gyruda was like supposed to be the hotness in that first week, everyone's like, oh, it's so busted, it's so good. I played Luris and I played red-black cards, and I just killed people before their Gyruda mattered. And if they did resolve a Gyruda, I had 4 just like kill spells.
That to me,
so they couldn't clone.
That to me is the biggest problem with Luris is the aggressive decks are the ones that play.
At this time, they hadn't even changed the rule yet. By the way, this is when you could.
I was playing red, white, burn like before the Luris change.
Huge oops.
But round 1 played against Gyruda combo.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I was scared I was gonna lose that one.
And here's Aaron playing a Gravecrawler, and Maggie doesn't even know what to do. Do I kill this? Do I not kill this? The answer is no. You don't kill this. I don't think you can afford to.
That card, Gravecrawler, is
so
insane.
good.
It's insane.
Good. Such a good card.
I played that in that Mono Black Devotion deck I was talking about, just as a 2/1 body. You just attack with it.
Yeah, whatever.
Occasionally you'll play another zombie.
Yeah, Grey Merchant's a zombie.
Yeah, just play another Gravecrawler at the end. No big deal.
Yeah, whatever.
No big deal. Your opponent has to answer it at some point. And it's probably just wasting a resource.
Exactly. And people just don't know. I mean, people probably didn't know what you were doing either, so they're afraid to kill it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have more zombies.
With Goblin Bombardment and Champion of the Parish. Woo, doctor.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier with like Bloodthrone Vampire 2. Similar concept, just getting to cycle it and keep doing it over and over again. Yeah, I like this. This deck is very cool, and
I
think there's a lot of room to explore in this archetype. But I definitely think Undead Augur should be a 4 of in the main deck, no question. I want that card advantage.
I'm wondering how greedy Aaron is, because I myself am kind of a greedy player.
Okay.
If I had a card like Gravecrawler in play, I would attack, and I'm assuming he's got a sack effect in hand with a zombie.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's got a zombie, but if he's got like a carrion feeder to just sack it off and then rebuy, and if he does that, Maggie has an opportunity. Oh, here's the carrion feeder. Here it is. Is he going to do the land?
Looks like Aaron
maybe he missed his land drop.
That's pretty bad for Aaron.
Now,
really bad for Aaron. I assume Aaron must have at least one copy of Lightning Bolt if they kept this hand. There's no way you keep.
I believe this was a 7 as well.
It was. So there has to be at least a copy of Lightning Bolt. Probably a really good 2-drop too.
Maybe a second copy of Gravecrawler.
A somewhat greedy keep, but Aaron was on the draw, so there's definitely some argument for keeping it. I think sometimes people are a little too. They mulligan a little too aggressively.
I did get a correction. Danny did state it was a 6-card hand.
Oh, well, then that makes even more sense.
Yeah. And I'll make a controversial statement. When you have a Gravecrawler, that's not a 6-card hand.
Exactly. I don't think that's a controversial statement. I just think it's a true statement.
It's kind of the same thing as a companion role. That is not one creature. That is a recurring creature.
Or it's going to be recurring damage that they can't interact with, which is also kind of erasing the mulligan.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I like this.
There's Maggie doing what Maggie has to do, which is remove that.
Just state, you can have the Gravecrawler. I can't really answer that efficiently, but
I'm going to be
you're
honest
not going to have
here.
the feeder.
What is this? Spellbomb?
Pyrite Spellbomb.
Okay.
Powerful card.
I'm going to be honest. I guess there is some argument to snipe off Crawler with your opponent only on
I
one
don't
land.
think so. I think
depends how much removal you have.
Oh,
that's awkward for Maggie.
Yeah. Now that he's got a second Gravecrawler, they protect each other.
If I'm Maggie here, I pop this Spellbomb for a card.
I think
little awkward to kill things now.
If Maggie does have another removal,
if you have 2,
hand,
you just kill them both.
Bang bang.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about killing the one that was in play with Aaron only having 1 land. I'm going to be honest, I don't like fetching the shock here necessarily because I think it is pretty critical to be efficient with the mana and draw a card off the Spellbomb. But I don't know for sure. It's hard to tell what's in Maggie's hand.
I do see a snow-covered mountain.
Mountain? Okay. I thought I saw a swamp as well.
That is a Nile Spellbomb.
Oh, that's insane.
That's huge.
That's super good.
So if Maggie's able to... Oh, that's from Abrupt Decay. So Maggie can be hyper-efficient with her mana and kill both Gravecrawlers and fire off the Nile Spellbomb.
Yep. And it looks like that's what Maggie's going to do.
I think she's going to get as much information as possible. Really, if I was Maggie, I'd take 4 in the gym. No, I'd take 4 in the gym. Go to 9. Use your life total as a resource.
See, I think I would be a little more cautious with my life total, knowing my opponent plays Bolt and Bombardment.
I mean, possibly.
I don't think there's a huge reason to take it here.
I think you want to see if your opponent got the land. Because if they got a land plus 1 drop, then they just restart the Crawler thing all over again.
But you could still just pop the Spellbomb in response to them playing the zombie, right? You don't get to draw a card, which is annoying, but if they have the actual perfects, you still... Okay.
That's a Champion of the Perished.
So Maggie here should really just take out these Crawlers.
Yep. She's doing it. Hyper efficient. This is in the end step, of course.
Yeah.
And this is also another thing. Oh, I disagree with this. I disagree with why you would crack the Spellbomb.
That's not
Black. Yeah, you just go to untap.
That's just not being efficient with your cards. So yeah, definitely a misstep there. Maggie hopefully won't be punished because her opponent has just done essentially nothing in this game.
No, I 100% agree with Maggie taking the 4 on the chin.
Yeah.
But you need to be using your Spellbombs.
Maggie also needs to get this Lurrus in hand. It's Lurrus time. Your opponent is choked on mana. Get the Lurrus.
There you go. Bam.
There you go. Get the Lurrus into hand. Did we not have a land in hand? Maggie must not have a land. I thought Maggie had a land, but
no, she cycled the Forgotten Cave.
Yeah, I guess I'm just misreading Art's cards.
That's fair. There's a lot of different arts.
This is starting to come up though, where I didn't like taking the 4 on the chin. Is now we're at 7 life. We're playing against a Bombardment Lightning Bolt deck. So being somewhat aggressive with our life total now could start coming back to haunt us, because as soon as Aaron hits that second land, you have to assume there are multiple.
Now, I agree with you to a point. However, wow, that's really good.
It's actually awkward though, right? Because giving Aaron a land is actually probably very good for Aaron. It's a good hit, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure how good it actually is. Because again,
I agree.
I expect Aaron's hand to be at least a copy of bolt. There probably are two. And if there are two bolts and this hits, the game's over. Now, I will say Aaron might not play a basic mountain. It'd be a very awkward land to play. But if Aaron does play a basic mountain, okay, it's a basic swamp.
Beautiful one.
Better for Maggie, obviously. But
that's interesting now, but the reveal of Path is huge.
It is.
It's a little interesting why you have Path in a...
Yeah, I don't love it at all. We get to play cards like Fatal Push, Blood Chief's Thirst if you want to.
If I was Maggie, oh my gosh. Now, okay, so now knowing that the land was in hand, I think you just play Luris and rebuy one of your spell bombs.
That would have been much better. Yeah, Maggie taking that damage and not being efficient with the drawing cards off spellbomb may be very costly in this game.
The only creature that can block the Luris was the Champion of Perished.
Right.
So if you can just start getting chip damage in with the Luris and stabilize your life total, you're in excellent shape. That's the idea of getting rid of the Champion of the Perished.
I guess there's got to be like 100% chance that Aaron has a removal spell for this Luris too, right? Just like literally 100.
Have to assume.
Tide Hollow.
Tide Hollow is good.
Probably got to figure out what's in Maggie's hand.
Unholy Heat.
Just take the Rag. Take the Ragavan, kill the Luris.
No, you take the Unholy Heat.
Really?
Yep, make her commit more mana.
That's fair.
Because now she has to use a spell bomb.
Okay, Aaron, please have a lightning bolt. You have to have a lightning. There's
gotta have an answer. Gotta have an answer right now. If Maggie gets to untap of that Luris.
And I forgot that the Unholy Heat could just kill the Scholar to get the Ragavan back anyway. So I was.
Right. You ready for the play that Aaron? What? Because he doesn't have the removal spell. This line here tells me he doesn't have the removal spell. He should have cast the Tide Hollow spell, trigger on the stack, second to the Carrion Feeder.
Yes, and then you get the card permanently.
Permanently gone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because worst case scenario, because you know she's got the Ragavan in here, you snatch a Ragavan.
I cannot believe that Aaron did not have an interactive spell.
That's on top too. Big.
Yeah,
bang.
I think this game's over.
And this is what I was talking about. We're like,
now Maggie just kills.
Gets the Unholy Heat back.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. Yeah, you get the treasure. I like this.
Treasure, Unholy Heat.
Good play. Yeah. Good play.
Bang, 5.
This is
go back to 8.
Maggie definitely with some missteps earlier, but fortunately not going to get punished here. Aaron kept a really
top card
6.
is completely irrelevant.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Treasure. Bang. Kill this. Trigger the DRC. Look at the top card. We like it. Yeah, we're gonna be going to a game.
She already knew what the card was, so she just said, "No, I'm gonna keep it."
We're gonna be going into a game 3 here shortly. Aaron with no removal. Pretty awkward. Really needed it.
1 to 6. Okay. Lethal is now on board. So what could get him back in this game? Tainted Adversary? Perhaps? Could be a good...
Luris must die. If we can deal with the Luris, we might have a shot. Maybe a K command. A K command would be kind of sweet.
2 mana, okay. That's a bombardment.
Okay, that's not that bad, actually. Is it the 2-drop that makes 2/2s? What is this? I can't. Is that an Undead Augur? That is an Undead Augur. That's the one I was talking about. If you sack it, you lose the life draw card.
Well, irrelevant.
It's too late, yeah.
Irrelevant. Lethal's...
Yeah, it's too late now.
And she's going to show him the Pyrite Spellbomb. She's like, I'm going to snatch this Spellbomb back.
Yeah, and kill your Augur. Now, don't attack, Maggie. You need to replay Spellbomb.
Oh, she's got it all. She's got it all.
Nope.
If she plays a Spellbomb...
See, this is a terrible... Yeah, this is just a mistake. This is just not a good play. This is just not a good play, because now he can block the Luris, sack, and kill the monkey.
Well, yeah, you sack to kill the monkey.
Yeah, and
you
then
take 4
and then Luris... Okay, Maggie...
Bang. Bolt.
Must have a bolt, but... This is still silly. Just play your Spellbomb. It's just
like, I'd like to go to damage.
Yeah.
Sure. You're dead to your own effect.
Well, he's not. I mean, he goes to 5, and then this dies, and then takes 3. If Maggie,
no, he's going to damage. You say he's going to damage.
No. He's at 2. I assume he did it right. I'm so confused at what's happening here.
I am too.
Yeah, I can't tell what's going on.
Is that a bombardment? Bang bang? Bang bang.
Okay, I have no idea what happened there.
I
guess. I guess. I don't know, man.
Because the Undead Augur is not an optional. It's mandatory.
It is, yeah.
So Maggie would, if he's at 6, Maggie attacks with those 3 cards.
Yeah.
Does 5.
No, you block, sack, kill the Ragavan.
No, but how he played out, he went to damage.
Yes, but what he should have done was sacked and killed the Ragavan.
Right. End up taking 4.
For whatever reason, that didn't happen.
Which is why Maggie should have just played the Spellbomb from the graveyard. It guarantees that.
Danny's over here shrugging his shoulders at why it didn't happen too. We're all, But
I mean, sometimes you just get,
you get 2 tunnel vision, which is clearly what happened with Maggie there too. Absolutely should have played
when you're looking through the looking glass like we are, and saying, oh, that I can see everything. That's clearly the play.
Well,
and
to be fair, we play a lot more Magic than your average human being, and certainly your average Magic player too, but definitely your average human being. You're over here playing Ninja Leagues before we even set up.
I was hustling. I was 2-0 before we even set up equipment.
This is before the 2K. We got our first ever 2K, and Andrew's like, "Hold on, before we start setting up equipment, I need to finish my show match."
I won that match, by the way.
You did. Well done. All right,
they hit me with an Evercool.
We got a DRC, and that's going to be a kill spell here. A bolt. Kaboom. See you later. Aaron Garcia.
So, random question for you.
Yeah.
Full art cards. How do you feel about them?
I don't care.
But again, we play more Magic than the average human being, like you said. The average human being doesn't know all these effects like we do. Lightning Bolt's a standard effect where you just know it.
Yeah.
Cryptic Command?
The Tide Hollow sack it in response to the trigger. That's not one that your average player is going to know.
I mean, if you're playing zombies, you should know that one.
Well, yeah, if you're playing Tide Hollow Sculler in your zombies deck, which is probably good, actually. That we were talking about why humans is good is because they have cards like this. Zombies has this, which is basically their Kite Sail freebooter.
For people who are newer to Modern, Tide Hollow Sculler used to be a very big player in the sideboard.
Yep.
So because of the fact that you couldn't remove it when it was on the trigger was on the stack, else you just got blown out.
Yeah. Basically get 2 for 1 automatically.
Mm-hmm. So not necessarily an effect that a newer player would know.
Yes.
Specifically because of how it's worded. Same thing with Kite Sail Freebooter is the fixed version of Tide Hollow Sculler.
Yes.
Because it only just peeks at the hand.
Yes.
If you remove it.
Yep.
A big game for zombies then.
Huge. That's huge.
That is a
Dreadhorde
Butcher. And
Maggie decides to not block this time, which I think I like.
I disagree.
Actually, no. This time, you're right.
I disagree.
Because this time, Maggie wouldn't get 2 for 1. You would just lose a life.
If Aaron has a hand disruption spell, that'd be excellent.
Well,
but I think based on the build that we've seen, I think he's more maximizing on removal. Where maybe you would too, would maximize more on the hand disruption.
I would.
I would do the disruption and let my creatures get through.
Okay, so we should be killing the DRC here.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, and this is why it was a mistake for Maggie to not block.
Yeah, because it ended up taking 1 damage for no reason.
Yeah, we took a 2 for 1 for no reason.
Now, what card said that was?
I can't tell. Is that a goof?
That's a goof. That is a goof. Yep, that's a term of goofy.
All right, Aaron, we better have that path. Or Fatal Push. Like you said, Path just shouldn't stack. Path, there is
Path is kind of a bad Modern card right now.
I mean, yeah, we have Prismatic Ending now, too. It's just so much better.
Yeah, in Aaron's deck, I think Ending's way better.
Ending would be awesome.
He's got 3 colors.
Yeah. The only card that Ending doesn't hit that you would like to hit is Murktide Regent, but you're black-red. You can kill Murktide in many, many ways.
I think this Goyf is going the distance, though.
I agree.
For all those people that are just like, I'm not going to play Goyf. There's better cards.
I mean, there are.
There are.
It looks pretty good here.
There are, but there's no. You know how we talk about in like Combo Legacy, you can't cheap out on it because you need the line side items because there's only one card that does it. There's only one Tarmogoyf.
Yep.
It will beat your face in when you don't want it to.
If you're not prepared, it certainly will.
Yeah.
I, however, bring prismatic endings
always
to the table. Bring 4 Teferi, Hero of Dominarias to the table, which kind of make Goyf look foolish as well.
Yeah, 3.
Goyf is just not a great card anymore. It looks good here. It
is a powerful creature card that is outclassed right now.
The problem, too, is now red can kill it for 1 mana. Unholy Heat kills it every time.
Well, I think Unholy Heat's actually kind of an underplayed card right now. You don't really see it all that much. You see it in Sagavan, but like that's about it.
Yeah, Sagavan, the Shadow deck, Stress Down Shadow, blue-red Murktide.
And Tarmogoyf kind of gets put to shame in the face of a dress down, too.
It does, yeah. It's just, it's Tarmogoyf's days of being one of the best creatures in Modern have far left.
I'm ashamed to say I paid over $100 per Tarmogoyf back in the day.
I have zero interest in putting Tarmogoyf in pretty much any deck right now. Is Goyf usually a standard Sagavan list?
Yes. Yep. Okay. It's a standard. Because they are a deck that's trying to trigger Delirium.
They do get a lot of
He's
types.
a 4/5 very quickly. And Tarmogoyf just is a real beating with Darcy.
Yeah.
Because you just get to cycle through your deck. Your Goyf just gets bigger for doing your thing.
Yep, that's true.
Tarmogoyf is just a good card if you're going to be playing Darcy and you have access to green, playing Goyf.
Yep, makes sense.
Red, green, Jund.
Makes sense. I am just so not interested in casting Tarmogoyf, to be honest. I've never been interested in casting Tarmogoyf, to be fair. It's very much not a me card. It's a mid-range card that doesn't generate card advantage.
I think Tarmogoyf is, and this might be a hot take, but Tarmogoyf's been a bad card since Throne of Eldraine was released.
It's been a bad card for a long time.
When I played that Regionals, I was playing that Teamer mid-range pile that I got top 16. Goyf was the worst card.
It's literally, it is never, and it's continually gotten worse. It just continues to get worse as Modern adapts and expands, which I guess makes sense because it's just a vanilla creature. That's all it is. And creatures are just continually getting better and better, and spells just getting better and better. Prismatic Ending being a good example of that. Ending is just insane.
Aaron, good sport. Yep. In response to Bolt himself. Been there.
Yep. Sometimes
but Tarmogoyf able to outscale Aaron's removal. But if he was playing Prismatic Ending, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, Path.
If you got access to white, you need Ending.
Path should not be in the deck. 100%. Play something else. Could be Ending. Could be Terminate. Could even be a Murderous Cut. I played a single Murderous Cut I
love Murderous Cut. So good.
It probably wasn't actually good because I was playing Dark Confidant, but it did some good work for me when I was playing the deck, and I wanted another answer to Murktide Region, and at that time I was playing the Luris Dragon Rage Channeler black-red deck at that time. And that deck was very good at getting cards in the graveyard.
Very efficient at it.
So Murderous Cut was generally a 1-mana removal spell. Now in Zombies, that might not be the case. I don't know. But I will say,
I don't think it gets cards in the graveyard fast enough for Murderous Cut.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, you have access to Terminate. You have access to just so many cards. I definitely like Aaron's deck here. There's a lot of tweaking and tuning
optimized
to be done. This might be something that our team has to kind of look at.
I don't think the red is necessary.
I don't either.
Red Horde Butcher is
It's not good. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I don't think it's very good. I don't think you want to play.
I understand. I understand it because you get it's a good card with Goblin Bombardment. You get to double up on some damage.
Cool. Yeah.
But at the same time, especially red for Goblin Bombardment, absolutely correct.
That's pretty cool.
That's good.
That's pretty cool.
Good.
I don't know if that's necessarily what I would do if I were playing this deck. I think if I were to build Zombies, it would be a little more mid-range centric. It's going to play 4. I'm going to try generating a lot of value. And it looks like Maggie's coming over here for an interview, so we're going to start talking about that match. All right, Maggie. So first off, what did you think of your opponent's deck?
I really enjoy Aaron's list. I knew that they were tinkering with it.
Yep.
I knew that.
Yep.
But I was really nervous. Aggressive.
Right.
And I really wasn't if like I should take more of the control route or just try and out.
Yeah. So you fell behind in game one, obviously.
Right.
What was kind of your strategy going into those post-board games?
My strategy was to attack the graveyard mostly,
yep.
but not be too bogged down in prioritizing threats over prioritizing.
Okay, that makes sense. So in game two, obviously Aaron takes the mulligan, and Aaron leads on Gravecrawler. What were you thinking when Aaron led on Gravecrawler on the mull to 6?
I was happy champion.
That's fair. Okay.
I was also happy it wasn't either.
That's true.
It was beneficial in the fact that I had, I believe it was Ragavan and 2 unholy hits in the over. And so I knew that I could deal with any kind of threat that wasn't recursive.
Right.
It was just a shame that it was earlier.
Yeah.
That was kind of why I leaned into the graveyard hate so heavily.
Yeah, and then obviously later you draw the spell bomb, which obviously ended up being really critical in that game because the 2 grave crawlers happened, and I'm sure at that point you were probably even more like, oh my god, I have these removal spells, but this is awkward.
Right.
Fortunately, though, Aaron was missing some lands.
Yes,
which,
that was very fortunate.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we were talking about that actually when the path got revealed. I was wondering if the path was even necessarily worth casting. It was really close because I assumed that Aaron would have had a removal spell, but unfortunately for Aaron, they did not have a removal spell,
yeah.
So the Lurrus just kind of took over.
So we were talking about that. Go back to that moment. Cast the Tide Hollow Scholar at that point. Are you familiar with the interaction with Tide Hollow Scholar?
Yeah, I could have killed it that way. Away forever.
Yeah, that's what we were talking. Maybe it should have been done.
Yeah.
Because of worst case scenario, you just strip a Ragavan.
Yeah.
So
it's really interesting. It was an interesting line.
Done.
Yeah.
That's where we landed on it. There was a lot of interesting talking points during that.
Your deck's really sweet. We were talking about a lot of ways to like. A lot of cards to add, and
I think it's a cool deck. I think there's some
very cool deck. Yeah, actually, can let's start talking about. Do you mind if we talk about the list? Like, all right, cool. Let's.
Pretty lean and mean. It's
okay.
got 4 copies of all the zombies we saw.
Okay, so four Wayward Servants.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got 4 copies of Wayward Servant.
Out against bridges. Like that,
yeah, I think it's a really good card. I think it's definitely a card that people haven't.
While Steven's going through the deck, that's not in there that I think should be in there. Tainted Adversary.
What's that?
That's the new one from Innistrad.
Okay.
Midnight Hint that says when it comes into play, you have a kicker effect that you can. It's 1 and a black as many times you want, and it gets a 1/1 counter too.
Okay, so
it gets So it gets a counter, and then you get 2 zombies with decay. Every single time, and you can. Yep, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. So that card I think should be in that list. The only card that we were saying that we weren't sure about in the list was the Butcher.
And I just want to confirm: is everything a 4 of?
No. The Relentless Dead's a 3 of.
Okay, Relentless Dead is.
I agree with that.
It's a Minion creature.
Yeah.
It's not, don't even my opening hand.
That's why I had to check it. So
The
that way it didn't
Butcher-
recur out of the
Yeah.
Now we're like that we weren't sure of.
Right.
It has everything to do.
Is everything else a 4 of though?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I have to go through it.
So we've got.
The main reason for the Butcher is that I don't know. I just when it's very good, it's good.
Sure.
I also like how it interacts.
Bombardment. That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah. Oh, it's 3 bombardments. Yeah. So we've got 3 Relentless Dead, 3 Goblin Bombardment, 4 Lightning Bolt, 4 Undead Augur, 4 Tide Hollow Sculler, 4 Gravecrawler, 4 Dreadhorde Butcher, 4 Aether Vial, 4 Carrion Feeder, 4 Champion of the Perished, and 4 Wayward. All right, sick. So those are the spells we've got in this deck. And then let's just quickly kind of parse through the mana base. 4 Bloodstained Mire.
I want to say I have 3 of the Bloodstain and the
Verdant.
No. I think it's 6 fetch lands total, all for black.
Okay.
Really, just black.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which black fetch land necessarily.
Single, so I guess
Okay, so so the marsh flats are optimal then. Okay. So, 6 fetches. Yes, okay, that makes sense.
That is the main reason for the dam side. And
oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Damn,
it just helps.
I like that. All right, let's see.
Yeah, the only thing I would personally change in that list, I think I'd change the Dreadhorde Butchers to Tainted Adversaries.
Yeah,
4 of that card is sweet.
We also talked about the 2-drop human as well. Should probably be in the deck. The one that makes
the one that
makes
yeah,
it 2/2 step.
Oh, okay.
It would probably be very good. It's
just
especially
talking
good
about-
with Undead Augur. You continually you attack with it, and then it decays, sacks, and then you draw a card, and then you get another one on the end step, and it just like
Was
keeps
there any
looping.
consideration for Esper?
Really good with
zombies?
bombardment too.
An old list that I had was Esper.
For image, were there
I
images?
did Esper for the 3-drop Lord, actually. This is where I was a Luris fan.
Okay.
Which is very good. It's just a 3-drop.
Yeah. Well, there's that 2-drop Lord in
Yeah.
in Wild.
But I will say the best part of the 3-drop Lord is the Death Trigger. Because
Yeah.
when you tie that up with when you have that and you have Wayward and you have Bombardment, that's
Seems really great.
So
Yeah, that's insane.
It's a really sick deck.
Definitely. So I think we got the basic planes for all the different lands.
He's got the gorgeous basics.
All right, so let's just
No
no
critiquing on my
every
part.
deck starts with the basics and then
Yeah.
you go from there.
That's exactly right. If
6
you start
black
with the
fetches.
basic shape,
I assume we're playing 4 cavern.
2 actually.
2.
I want
Okay.
to have room for the spell-based sideboard.
That makes sense. Okay, so 2
I think that's
cavern.
incredibly smart. Too many people get caught in the tribal trap where you need to play the
Yeah.
really only need it for the anti-counter.
How many blood crypts? 2 blood crypts
Godless Shrine?
in a godless shrine. Okay. How many silent clearing? Okay.
Be wrong with that.
Fetid heath.
One of those.
One of those. A single basic plains.
Wasn't-
Yeah, it is. And then how many basic swamp? 2. Okay. Very cool. So for those listening, that's kind of what we got for the. How about the sideboard? How's that sideboard?
Sideboard's pretty sweet. It's got,
Okay. Andrew, why don't you go through the sideboard?
Well, it's
first?
got Kitty Cat, Luris of the Dream Den.
Free.
It is free. We're just talking about that too. It's
Yeah.
2 free. 2 free, if that's such a thing. 2 Path Exiles. We were talking how those should have been prismatic endings.
Yeah, I have been on the fence about ending or not. Actually, the spot that I think of Skyclave spot.
Gotcha.
I ended up going Skyclave. Clock that presents is on theme, and anchoring it in is like a real.
Pretty good,
Turns
yeah,
out the cat matchup that's like great.
for
Okay.
sure. And you got your Disruption package with the 2 Thoughtseize and then 1 Inquisition, and then Dam, which I'm a huge fan of the sideboard. Actually, I would probably want more than just 1.
Yeah.
I just love that card.
Rebuild bases everything.
Yeah, in worst case scenario, it's a spot removal spell.
Yeah.
3 Alpine Moon for the Saga matchups, and then 3 copies of Skyclave Apparition for basically just any deck that cares about permanence in play, and you can just strip them off it. And then 2 Fractures, which Fracture, hot card.
Fracture's sick. I
Is,
like
for
Fracture a
those
lot.
who don't know, it's disenchant, but also works on Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Good against blue-white.
The other one I was considering an older list, white and black Exile and Montpellier tournament.
Oh, Vanishing Verse.
Vanishing Verse.
That one's always over more. Just have room for it. Maybe one day. I'll put it
Maybe-
That card's really good.
Yeah, maybe over the Shatter, or the
Fracture.
Fracture.
Yeah.
That one.
Could be. Could be.
Possibly. Good card.
Yeah,
Good card.
definitely.
But yeah, no, the deck is sweet.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks
Let's
for
look at
thanks
it.
for
Match.
coming with us, and
Yeah,
it was
really
yeah.
enjoyed it. It was really interactive. It's good. It's hard to find those.
Yeah, it sure can be. It sure can be. All right. Good luck to you both.
Good announcement.
All right. So that was really cool. It was really sweet. We actually got both players over.
Yeah.
Here. That was nice, and it was really nice having Aaron over to talk about their deck, because that was the whole reason we actually put them on camera to begin with, was to kind of see that deck in action.
Yeah,
And I think it's a really good starting point for a
it is.
zombies
It is.
deck.
Yeah, it's a
a
very
really
good starting
nice
point.
nice
I like
baseline.
the interaction Goblin Bombardment with a lot of the cards, especially Gravecrawler.
Yeah.
But I think it's just not optimized quite yet.
I think we should maybe even later this week or in the next few weeks we should do some streaming of our own modern zombies variations.
I think we can put our heads together. We can come up with something.
That could be kind of.
I think his land base is actually
interesting.
I think it's pretty good.
It was for being if you want to approach the deck in that way, it is good. Another card that deck could definitely play actually is the zombie kill spell, which is the one that makes tokens. It's Dark Salvation would be kind of an interesting removal spell in that. Yep. Depending on how wide that deck starts to go with the creatures.
I think that card 4 or 5 mana though, maybe a little too expensive.
Well, it's black. It's just 1 black. Target creature gets neg-X equal to the number of zombies you control, and then it has XX, create that many 2/2s, and it still does the same thing. So it's actually a 1 mana kill spell. It's for like let's say your opponent plays a monkey or a Dragon Rage Channeler. It's basically a fatal push at that point. You need a zombie, but if you have 1 zombie, it's essentially a fatal push. I don't know.
But one thing's for certain: Tinted Adversary 4 of.
Yes.
It needs, especially with Undead Augur.
The new 2-drop human too. I mean, we should be playing the one that makes the decayed zombies. We want to play.
I could see a world where you don't play that, but also it's just so good.
You're supposed to.
It's so good
with Undead Augur too.
With Undead Augur, with
Champion
Carrion Feeder, with Champion of the Parish, with Goblin Bombardment. You got 4 cards.
It's just got to be. It should
with.
Just be.
Yeah, because really, it is a human. It's kind of a non-synergy. However, it makes the zombie.
I think what I would do, if I were to play this deck, I would move away from the red for a few reasons. I don't think you need Lightning Bolt for interaction. You're a black deck, so you have plenty of options for interaction.
It's a light splash of red specifically for bombardment.
Here's what I would do instead, though. We talked about Bloodthrone Vampire earlier. I would try the Bloodthrone Vampire plan for this reason. Bloodthrone Vampire is much better with Aether Vial, and I want all of my cards for the most part to be good with Vial. I want to be a little better on the Vial, and technically, the Bloodthrone Vampire actually races harder than a Bombardment.
That's a fair point.
It can't interact with the board like Bombardment can, but it hits so hard, so quickly that it can cause real issues.
Yeah, I think I agree with you too. The deck's a little low impact.
Yeah, Vial could be much better. And when I play a Vial deck, I want it to be a Vial deck. I want a lot of good stuff.
I think Luris is not a Vial card either.
It's awkward. Yeah, it's not. And if we didn't play Luris, then we can start. And we even in Aaron's like Sky versions, we could be playing Fleshbag Marauders or something like that instead.
I think that would be better.
A zombie, not double white. We can cast it off because I want to play 4
well, Fleshbag also combos with all the decay zombies.
Yes.
And it combos Undead Augur.
Yeah.
It combos with. There's just so many things it combos with. Champion of the Parish. Also, it's just a 3/1 body, that can block.
Yeah,
you can sack a Gravecrawler and then just chump block something.
Yep.
Edict effect's very good. Actually, I believe it's better than Edict. It's just each opponent. I believe. We can take.
I think it's each player. Fleshbag.
It's each player. It's each Flesh.
But yeah, it's definitely. There are a lot of ways this deck can go.
Each player, so it does not target,
which is relevant.
Even better.
Which is definitely relevant. So yeah, there are a lot of ways this deck can go, and I'm not sure exactly where it wants to go, but I think it can definitely be tuned, and maybe Aaron will get a chance to listen to this and maybe try some of these ideas that we're talking about here.
I think you might be right where the red is maybe a little bit cute. Goblin Bombardment obviously has a lot of synergies, but really,
if I can be 2 colors, I would like to be 2 colors.
Yeah, I think we just simplify the mana base a little bit. Make it just 2 colors. If you do 2 colors, if you do just black-white, you get access to the 4 silent clearing. Which having 4 horizon lands is incredible.
You also can probably play 4 cavern at that point too, which is going to be potentially pretty important.
Yeah, I think I would focus more on the creature side than the spell side. Ooh, we have an Innistrad Wild Hunt Collector's booster that I get to open.
Baby.
George knows I'm a big fan of cracking booster packs. See what hotness we get. Flip the switch.
Flip the switch.
Counter target spell unless its control pays 4. Create a zombie. Okay. Pretty good.
Pretty good in draft too. Really nice card in the blue-black zombies.
Crossroads Candle Guy.
This card's not good.
I am reading these cards for the first time.
Oh, okay. Yep.
When it enters the battlefield, exile one creature from the or one target card from the graveyard, and then 2 add 1 covenant.
So it's fine. This card's fine, but a very late pick in draft.
Absolutely terrible. Immolation. This card's
nice.
hot.
This one's nice in draft.
Enchant creature is +2/-2. That's a removal spell.
For those listening, I have dubbed this card Red Weight.
Yeah. Ritual Guardian. Coven at the beginning of each combat on your. If you draw 3 or more creatures with different power, it gains lifelink until end of turn. Medium.
Yep. Very medium 3-drop.
But
typically a 23rd card in my decks when I play.
If you're in a white aggro deck, though,
it's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Loyal Griffin. This card's kind of hot, actually, before I even got down to the real text.
This card's really good.
Flash flying 2/2 for 2 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, return another creature you can owner's hand. Pretty good.
Yep.
Projection spell and creates a body in play.
Yeah. You might have to try one of these in D&T.
Horrible.
Joke.
Beloved
It's not good, but
1 and a white for a 0/4 with Disturb 4 and double white. The Disturbed half is Flying Vigilant. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It's a good card.
1 Mountain. Powerful magic card.
Rear's a little medium.
Ghoul Caller's Harvest. Green and black create X 2/2 zombies with decay, where X is half the number of creature cards in your graveyard rounded up.
Yet to find a deck where this really clicks in limited.
Seems fine. Crowded Crypt, hot card. Commander card, obviously. 2 and a black. It is a black mana rock. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a corpse counter on it, and then 4 and double black. Sack it, make zombies for each corpse counter.
Okay.
Hallowed Respite. Exile target non-legendary creature that returns to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it enters this way, put a 1/1 counter on it. And it has flashback. Not bad.
Yep.
Another Candle Grove Witch. Oh, wait, no, this one's...
That's new.
Coven, and then gains flying if you have Coven.
Hey, they said for me to join y'all, so...
All right, nice.
Human Werewolf with Trampled Davon 3/2, Harvest Tide Infiltrator, and then it flips into Harvest Tide Assailant. There's a 4/4 Trample.
Yep.
Into the good cards.
Rounds up, George.
So good. Edelin Resplendent Cathar Vigilant. Number of zombies or number of creature you control. Whenever creature attacks, create a 1/1 human creature token tapped.
Card's very good.
Card's hot. Chairless Hauler. These cards are weird. 4 and a green, Vigilant Daybound. And then 6/6 Vigilant.
I think the round's up. We already saw Respite. He has one of those. We're going to give cards back and let him go play his match.
George, I'm not going to lie. Bad pack.
Not a great pack, but all right,
worth the $20 though.
We've got Daniel Wharton, fellow teammate. He's back. Do we know what he's playing this week?
He's Elementals.
This is a
Elementals versus Scales.
Tyler Peterson.
Oh, it's Scales again. It's Tyler. So for those that don't know, that didn't watch a few weeks ago, Tyler played Dan in round 1 of our first ever stream.
Ooh, that's true.
And Tyler lost 2-0 to Hammer. Now this time, Dan is playing Elementals, which is unfortunately for Tyler still probably going to be a pretty good matchup for Dan. I think
it's closer.
It might be. Elementals is pretty good against Hammer, so I just assumed it might be good against Hardened Scales too.
Scales got a lot of things you got to answer. Got a lot of synergies, and
I will say
Daniel's not up to date on his scale synergies.
That's fair.
He could be easily overrun, especially with something like an animation module.
True.
Good card. With Archbomb Ravager, exceptional card.
But Dan's got 4 prismatic endings if he knows what he's doing, so he can just say goodbye. Say goodbye to
bad card. Bad card. Nobody plays that card.
Unfortunately for Tyler too, Dan probably remembers that Tyler is Scales guy at our FNL, which is unfortunate.
Now, I was talking to Tyler between rounds. He's talking about Voidmere, and I was talking to him. I was like, "It's fine against Elementals."
It's not.
It's
fine. So again, for those that have really been paying attention to modern Elementals, you may have watched some of Canister's streams. One of my streams where I watched Canister playing, his opponent played a Voidmere, and Canister just kind of made a weird look, and he just started hard casting his 5-drops and just killing everything. Still, that's the problem with Voidmere. I will say
Scales does get to play a card that a lot of decks don't have the opportunity to play, which is Torpor.
Yes.
Which is big game.
Torpor.
Okay, Torpor's actually.
That one's actually good.
You just
The
play
question is Tyler playing Torb?
I would hope to God he plays at least one.
That I don't.
I would play 2.
I remember last
I
time we
played
watched
4.
Tyler, his sideboard was a little awkward. Against Hammer Time, he brought in a couple Thought Seizes, a couple.
Also noticed
trying to
that
think
he's
what else
on the Luris build as well. And we were talking last. Well, actually, my commentary was cut from last time we had this match.
Yes. So now we will get to hear you. And
saying
Larry and myself.
I like the build with Scrapyard Recombiner.
Sure. I don't even. What does that card even do?
Tutor for constructs.
Yep.
Okay.
So basically, you turn into construct tribal. It does have modular, which is big.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think being able to tutor with your deck is a little bit better than casting, let's say, walking.
That makes sense. Okay.
And an interaction with walking with
We're on the
Luris.
mulligan, by the way.
Yeah, Tyler's going to 6.
An interaction with Luris that a lot of players don't know with X cost cards. This was a big deal in Moto when the companion first hit Moto because Luris was bugged. Luris will still see the CMC while it's on the stack.
I see.
So Walking Ballista, only a 1/1. Hanger back, only a 1/1.
Wow.
Can't go past that.
That's pretty interesting.
So it's very medium in this deck.
Okay.
It is, as we've said, it is a 8th card in your hand or 7th card in your hand, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But you have to question yourself.
Is it worth losing what you were talking about?
Using the versatility of going with some of them higher powerful cards and if anybody would know anything about scales, you're pretty good with these kind of decks.
Yeah, I also, but I mean, with Luris, you do get to play, like on the sideboard, you get to play sweet cards like, well, you get to play without it in your deck too, but you get to play, what's the snake? Stonecoil Serpent.
Stonecoil, yeah.
You get to play Stonecoil Serpent, and rebuying a Stonecoil Serpent is usually lights out. If you,
really annoying.
Even a 2/2.
Stonecoil is pretty sweet.
You can, it's a good card.
It was a good card in standard. It was pretty decent in historic, and obviously in these kind of decks, it seems pretty sweet.
Turn 1, Hallowed Fountain. So a little bit of a slower start, Dan. I imagine his hand has to have either a Fury or a Solitude, probably a Risen Reef as well.
I don't know. Dan's a very vocal person. That this deck has autopilot.
I think, and
we're about to find out how autopilot it truly is.
Well, he better not make any damn mistakes, because I'm gonna be more savage than literally every other mistake I've seen tonight. I'm gonna be like, oh, that was a terrible play from Dan Wharton. That's some inexperience.
Tyler has some people say it's slow. It's probably the best term for scales, which is simply just putting a Llanowar Reborn into play.
Sure.
And just go.
And what does that one do again?
So that is a green land that enters tap, and it has Graft 1.
What does Graft do?
Really odd mechanic. What it does, it's been doing it all night. What it does is when any creature enters the battlefield, if it has a counter still on it, you may place that counter onto that target creature.
Oh, okay.
Now, why it's so good is because we have a hard scales in play, and we play our 2/2, and our opponent's got the bolt, or we can just say, I have a Graft trigger.
Yeah.
Do you have a response? If my opponent says no, well, guess what? Now it's 4/4.
Okay.
Because I can move the counter then over.
Sure.
It's similar
they cannot
to it's similar to the Arcbound Ravager trigger, where when it's in the yard, you have a modular trigger. I target, then I have the option to place the counters.
And it looks like
that
Tyler...
is a Bark Boy. No, that's not a Bark Boy.
I don't know what that is.
That is a Bark Boy.
Okay.
What is
Arcbound Ravager?
Okay.
That's the dog art.
Yeah, that die was in an unfortunate spot.
And so, Dan definitely playing. Okay, it's a fairy. That's kind of interesting. I thought he would play a Risen Reef there, but he's probably just going to Fairy Bounce.
Yeah, this is so.
I like that.
So, you're criticizing Dan on all his plays. I'm going to criticize Tyler right now.
Yeah.
That counter on
Arcbound was terrible, right?
That movement on the Llanowar, you got to value that counter so highly.
Yeah, and you just got to kind of know what the Elementals player has access to. They have access to Solitude for free. They have access to Fury for free. They have Teferi on 3, which in that spot is really good because Teferi just gets to free bounce the Ravager there because you can't move the counters. If he could have moved the counters, I could have maybe accepted.
I could see it at that point.
Yeah, because then you can counter the draw from the Teferi as well.
I also disagree with this play entirely.
Not making the token.
Just make the token.
Yeah,
your opponent's cleared your board.
Yeah.
Just start making tokens.
Yeah. This is not how you beat elementals, is not getting value off your cards.
No. I'm also going to criticize the fact that that's 2 different arts of Archon Ravager we've seen played. That's horrible.
Okay, I don't care about that. I could care less. But here comes Omnath, and Dan, if Tyler's not careful, Dan's about to just start running away.
I'll be honest, I would have picked up the cards as soon as the Omnath was in play. Just like, yeah, we're done.
It's going to be very hard for him
so
to
he's
try to
floating mana.
Yeah, it's really tough because...
The card he needs to go for is Animation Module.
Okay.
So for those who don't know what Animation Module is, it's a 1/1 that it's a 1 mana card that states when a 1/1 counter is put into play, you may pay 1 mana.
Okay.
Once you do that, you create a servo. It chains off with Archon Ravager. So as much mana as you have is how many 1/1 counters Archon Ravager has.
And he gets his Abaz.
You could argue to get this a boss.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Me personally,
You would have gotten the animation.
I am a hard skills player that values the animation module synergy a little bit higher than that.
Well, it makes sense because the only real way you're going to beat the elementals deck is you're going to have to generate, like, getting a wide board is an okay way to beat them because they have to have the Fury at that point. I mean, if they don't have the Fury, they're not.
Yeah, that's
make them have it because, like, if you're just trying to beat them with like one creature, you're going to lose so many cards.
And what I'm gonna shot call it right now. What Tyler's idea is, he's got that Ink Moth in play.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna go for that kill. And Dan's a heads up player.
Oh, he's gonna solid.
He's probably got the solid already.
Or an instance. Actually, instant speed ending wouldn't do it because it's a land. So it would have to be the Solitude at least.
Yeah, it cuts off half his answers, but the sheer fact that you're going all in when you make that commitment.
Yeah.
I think this keep was a little weak by Tyler.
Funny enough, it was, from what I saw, it was actually fairly weak from Dan too. But unfortunately,
I think
Dan was able to recover because Tyler's
Dan's been hopping around on a lot of decks, so maybe he's not quite as experienced with the deck as you are. Tyler.
Unfortunately for Dan, it's probably not going to matter because Tyler just did not force the issue early, which is what Tyler would have had to do to punish Dan for this key. Because turn 3 to Fairy, turn 4 Omnath.
Scales is a combat.
Right.
It is a combat. You need to just start assembling your pieces quickly.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this right now, though, too. I think it's a very, very high likelihood that Dan also has and probably had a Solitude in hand this entire game, because I don't really understand this keep if he did not have at least a Solitude, because this was really slow. It was derpy. I don't usually like just turn 3 to Fairy. Like, you know, especially if I know my opponent's on Scales, like I would be concerned. Now, I think Dan was on the play this game, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Now I'm even more confused by this play. So he sacrificed an Archon Ravager to deal 4 poison.
Okay.
Why 4?
I don't know.
If you're gonna make a commitment to
make it at least 5.
Make it 5.
Yeah.
Make it the 2 turn.
Yeah, make it turn 2 o'clock, but I'll have to overly invest into it the next turn to try to close out and turning into 2 turns.
Danny's got a little green number up there for us. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that.
Very good.
Yeah, we haven't got to have enough infect on the coverage. We need to have some more infect decks.
Give me an infect deck. I'll put it on coverage.
Infect next week. I'll play some
infect.
Infect.
A Bosch.
I love some infect.
I don't want to play a Bosch, but
why? You don't get blinded agent, but that card's not good.
Gosh dang it!
You also don't get
I will
Light
say,
Stinger either.
what's the name? The Phyrex, the black 2/2.
Phyrexian Crusader.
He seems pretty good right now.
Very good.
Very good.
I believe it was Kyle Montgomery and I were talking about Infect after Mount Horizon 2 came out, and we were talking about black-green.
Right, and I think that is
just
probably
because of the Crusader.
That's probably the way to go right now because Crusader. Think about elementals. Fury can't hit it. Solitude can't hit it. Teferi can't bounce it. Prismatic Ending can't hit it. Bold can't kill it. Actually, they just cannot
refresh my memory. What does that card? Some text say.
It is a 2/2 first strike infect protection from red and white.
Ooh,
it might be green. It might be.
That's pretty nice.
Let's just take a look.
It's because Mirren Crusader was black and green, and then Phyrexian was red and white.
He is correct.
Yeah.
So Phyrexian Crusader literally bricks
the entire elemental. You actually cannot interact with Phyrexian Crusader.
Oh, it's practically unblockable too. The Teferi can't bounce it.
Yeah, Risen Reef could block it, which is horrendous. You wouldn't want to do that. I guess in some spots you'd have to. And that might be it. Like the Endurance, which is terrible against Infect. which isn't even in the main deck.
I think we need to get green black and going.
Mole Drifter could block it, but that's
again
pretty late in the game.
Horrendous.
Yeah, very poor. Yeah, who knows? Maybe that's actually a legitimate deck. Certainly has a good, probably a pretty reasonable element.
So I'm a little confused by this line as well. So Dan cast Fury.
Yes.
Why did we not animate the Inkmoth Nexus to get a counter?
I don't know.
It is relevant.
Yeah.
Because now he has the second one. If that thing has a counter, he activates this one and he puts him to 9. That means that the next turn, both Inkmoth Nexus are lethal.
I can't.
A little late scales.
Yeah, a little. Just. A little
I mean,
late,
not Tyler's fault on that one. But.
Yeah. No mistake there. He just drew it too late. He needs to draw better.
Yeah.
But
I, as people saw yesterday, need practice myself on how to do that.
Okay, and now we see Tyler not even activating Inkmoth this turn.
So again, if you're making the commitment to the infect, This is what a lot of players don't do. If you see me when I'm playing Affinity, Hardened Scales, anything that's putting 1/1 counters on Inkmoth, I'm committing.
If you do it, you have to do it. You can't. He went halfway.
The issue.
Yeah, he literally went halfway. He did it, and now he's not doing it anymore. And he's just giving Dan more time to draw Solitude.
Yeah.
Kill him. You have to try and kill him. If you give him more time to, because Elementals is so good at drawing cards.
Let's just go the instance that he put the 1/1 counter on the Inkmoth. Is Dan going to stop him from just putting him to 9? If I don't reveal the second Inkmoth, probably not. 9's not 10. So let's just say that damage gets through. We land the second Inkmoth,
and then next turn, we go fire up. You better have 2 Solitudes, or you better have Solitude Ephemerate.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah. Nearly over. Yes.
Yeah, you have to press.
You
the
need
issue.
2 cards. Yeah.
And he has not. And Dan has kept a pretty medium hand, in my opinion.
It was not good.
There is no there's no drawing.
There's no Wreath or Drifter. Or Sprawl. I would have never kept this hand.
No, I can vouch for
and
I think
you were so vocal with me tips because I haven't played the deck before.
And
you were very verbatim about
based on Tyler's hand, like from what we've seen, I can't see what order it was in, but it may have been a keep. If I'm looking at it, it may have been a keep, but it's a slow keep. But you
have to play.
You have to play
better.
it right.
You got to play perfect. Right. It's in Tyler's defense. Hardened Scales is one of the hardest decks to play. You
and I talked about how I wouldn't play this at a competitive event because there's just so many lines.
Sure.
And we talk about decision points. The more decision points you have in a deck, the more likely you are to make a mistake.
Actually, funny enough, Jonathan Sukanik, you may know who Sukanik is, and I'm sure a fair amount of our listeners may know who that is as well. Very good player. But he was talking in an SCG one time about how he loves playing Hardened Scales on Moto because he can use however much of his clock on turns like 1, 2, and 3. And he typically spends about 15 minutes on just the first 3 turns of like 2 games. But he says in paper, he wouldn't like to play the deck because he knows he's going to get a judge call. Because he's thinking so hard about all of these possible iterations of things that can happen, and he just knows that in paper.
I'm going to stop you just for a second because I did think of something here.
Okay.
So I don't see the second Archon Ravager in the yard.
Yeah.
If the second Archon Ravager is in Tyler's hand, he does have lead.
Okay, fair enough.
But back to what you're saying, I 100% agree. I think this is a deck that has a lot of decision points, and if you're on your own chess clock. It's fine.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, you can take as much.
So he is going for lethal.
Good. I like this. You got to do it, man. Go for it, Tyler. You're probably going to lose to a Solitude, but you at least got to try.
I'm going to put this up to 6.
You at least got to try.
Bang.
What's this? Ephemerate on a Fury?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But here's where your point. When did you draw this Ephemerate? If we had that extra counter, Ephemerate couldn't kill that Inkmoth because it'd be a 5/5. And Fury only does 4 damage.
When the 4 damage was dealt, you're absolutely right. If he animated and put it to a 5 power Inkmoth, different damage.
So the question is, when did Dan have the Ephemerate? We don't know.
Put it to a 5/5 Inkmoth immediately. Snap it off.
Yep.
Commitment. That's a problem that a lot of I'm not going to say novice, but a lot of newer players to.
It's even tough for really good
scales
players.
or affinity players they make with Arcbound Ravager. Sometimes you just got to look at your opponent and say, "Do you have it?"
Yep, and that was always a really tough thing for me when I played decks like Infact or Hardened Scales. Is it's tough because usually I'm more of like a mid-rangey like control. I like my games to go long. I like to give myself a lot of room to make decisions. With decks like this, sometimes you just have to accept that hopefully my opponent doesn't have it. And it's hard to know, especially when you're newer to these decks, when is the time to just say, shrug my shoulders, can you beat this?
It's definitely matchup based. I think in the Elementals matchup base. I mean, you've played it quite a bit, and I played Scales quite a bit. From the Scale side, I'm pulling the trigger right away. I'm just going to look at you and say, you got it.
You can't give me.
Because if you have a Ephemerate on a Fury, I'm dead. If you have a Solitude, I'm dead. If you got Ephemerate plus Solitude, I'm super dead.
And the thing is, you have to force it out of me because all the Elementals does is just draw cards. That's literally like why the deck is so sweet. Is it just so much of its deck?
An important note too, Tyler could have committed to the Ink Moth. He still had 4 cards in hand.
Right. So it might not have been game over.
So yes, you're making a big commitment to the card, but you're also just, if that 5 hits, if you connect, it means that next 5 is, I mean, you're dead on the next, your opponent's dead on the next turn, and you have the second Ink Moth.
Because of that second Ink Moth.
And being 5 gets off your.
Another thing too, even if Dan has the Solitude there was no Reef yet, so it's still a 2-for-1.
Yep.
Like, so even though you're making somewhat of a commitment, you're still getting 2 cards out of Dan.
A lot of people don't. They think Elementals are like, oh well, they probably have it. They probably do. Let's be honest. They probably do. But make them have it. Number 1, and number 2. If they don't have the Reef, the 2-for-1 is huge.
It's okay.
They can't keep doing that.
No, you absolutely can't do that.
They can only Fury you Ephemerate like once.
Right.
And they can't, evoke Fury. They can do it like once because they don't really have that many red spells.
Yeah.
They don't really have that many blue spells either, so they can't do like subtlety a lot.
Right.
And they're just choking on all these colors.
Yeah.
And that's what you weeks ago when you played the deck at a 1K. Was the mana base is horrendous because you're trying to force so many colors.
Right.
But I mean, you could say that about the evoke creatures themselves too, because you're trying to force so many colors.
Right.
You're not always going to have the evoke.
And it's why Sprawl is just so critical to Elementals. It's one of the most important cards in.
Tyler has what I would call the nut straw. I think I saw 3 copies of Hardened Scales.
Good lord. Good holy goodness. We'll see if he can get the job done here.
Is he on a mulligan?
No, he's on 7.
Okay.
And I do see at least 2 Hardened Scales.
Is Dan taking a mull or is he just okay?
And so I think Elementals is a
it mulligans very well.
It does mulligan very well, but again, with this particular matchup, I don't know if I would want to mulligan.
It's not great, but I think you still have to. Elementals, you have to the deck just has to
mulligans very well, but it's Hardened Scales is an A+ B deck,
and it's also going to mulligan worse post board because if I'm in Dan's position, there's not a chance that Mull Drifter is still in my deck. I would have cut Mull Drifter would have been one of my first cuts. It does fly, but it's just so slow, and I'm not really looking for Mull Drifter in this matchup. I want my Reef. Reef is good enough for card advantage. Omnath is good enough. Like this matchup is not about card advantage. It's about not dying. It's about getting the Reef and then getting the card advantage from the Reef is fine.
Yeah.
But
both these decks are saying I want to get to turn like 4 and really assemble my thing. And Scales is like, if you give me to turn 4, I'm gonna have something assembled.
Right.
And you're gonna die.
Yep.
Where Elementals is like, I just need to get my Risen Reef in play.
Yep.
And I'm gonna start evoking everything.
Exactly. Yep. And so it's really gonna come down to
Oh yeah.
okay.
Triple Scale.
This is rough for Dan. He's going to need...
This is when you play an Arcbound Worker and say, what you got, opponent? It's a 4/4 for 1.
And Dan, I like this from Dan. If he does have any removal, it should definitely just be like a prismatic
I see a
ending.
lightning bolt, and unfortunately for Dan,
that is going to be
really bad.
And this is why I don't play. I think Bolt is garbage in this deck. I've been pretty vocal about that. I was surprised that Canister went to it. I get it, and that's nice. I get it that it like kills Darcy and it kills Dragon Reach, or sorry, that it kills Ragavan. But it's just, I still like the Flame King. I do. I was very impressed with them at this last tournament. the 2K. It's a really important card. This is gross. What a turn here.
You know, this is just really bad for Dan.
This is the nut draw, like you said,
so
the
bad.
quintessential nut draw. Yeah.
Worthy of mention, he does not have red mana.
Okay.
And Zabaz with the red mana basically turns it into an Archon Ravager.
Yeah.
Not sort of being because it can destroy itself.
Yeah.
And if he does have red mana, this is huge. If he does have red mana, he's hiding it. This is lethal on the next turn.
Yeah. What's scary, though, for Tyler is both of these are 4 toughness right now. So if Dan does have, say, Fury and Ephemerate, he can actually just deal with the whole board still. And he has the Bolt to pitch.
Well, that all depends on how Dan plays this.
Yes. Dan obviously has to play it correctly.
You're supposed to go for the
Ballista first. Yes,
yep.
Correct.
Okay, so
a
Tyler's
prismatic.
Shoot him for 6 or for 4. Excuse me.
Yep.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no. Well, just land the ending and go. That's bad. That's bad. Okay, so
but we're seeing right now why I still like Flamekin Harbinger over Bolt. Imagine that we did have a Flamekin instead of a Bolt. We could have turned
play by Tyler. He's attacking, saying if his opponent has the removal. If his opponent has the removal, I'm going to make a construct, and we can move that. No big deal.
Now he's played a Spellskite, though, so he's not going to make a construct, which may be a misstep.
You want to talk about an underplayed card?
Spellskite. Oh, yeah.
Card's disgusting.
You know full well how good that card is.
Card's disgusting.
We got annihilated by you in one of those NRG events, I think. Larry was playing for top 8, and you beat him on Hammer Time
with
a bunch of Spellskites, and Larry was on Boggles. And you want to talk about a deck that doesn't want to...
It was a good match.
Yeah. But Spellskite, it's one of those cards, it kind of goes in and out of favor.
Yeah.
Right now it's on the out of favor.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. It's nice to see it getting some love.
It seems pretty okay.
Ending is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because Spellskite can't redirect the ending if they don't do it as a 2-drop, right? So pretty awkward.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Ending, the effect of it checks on resolution. The CMC on resolution.
Oh, okay.
So it can still do that. However, they just go for Spellskite.
Huh.
You just go, I'm just going to ending you.
Sure.
Let's move. You just put it on it and you move on.
I see.
That's the problem.
Here's an Omnath.
Okay. So Dan's got 2 cards in hand? I saw one of them being Fury. That's not good.
Nope.
Just gotta get a little.
Gotta read what Spellskite does.
Dan knows what Spellskite is. He's just got to refresh himself a little bit. I've beaten him quite a few times with the Spellskite.
You've probably beaten a lot of people with Spellskite, haven't you, Andrew?
Oh, once or twice.
You filthy, filthy man, you.
Once
All
or
right.
twice.
All right. Well, so
right now,
what is this saga gonna get? Is it gonna get another Zabaz? How many counters is that gonna put on this?
Oh, you don't put it on that.
You put it on the Skype?
You put it on the Skype.
Okay.
We're making a big.
Does that make it a 4/8?
It makes it go from. It goes to 4. It goes to get your
a 4/8. Good Lord.
No. It will make the Spellskite. It will make the Spellskite in 8/12.
Oh, because is it
It comes into play with the 4 counters. Then Zabaz gives an extra 1, so it's the modular hardened scales. So it gives another 4 counters. So we're talking 8 counters.
So we're talking just a lethal attack right now. Dan's gonna have to chump with Omnath.
I would. I don't.
So we probably do we make this Zabaz an 8/8 and the Spellskite a 4/8 so we can swing both? That's probably what we do here, right? We want to divvy up the counters to make a good attack into the Omnath.
Yeah, that's why I said put the counters on the Spellskite opposed to the Zabaz.
Now, why is this only coming in with 3 counters?
This is not. Those are not counters. They should not be on.
That's just repping. That's just she's trying to rep its power toughness. I see.
Probably he's doing that as a reminder to himself.
Yes.
I don't like when players do that just because
it's confusing.
It is confusing, especially in the scales deck.
Yeah.
Where dice are everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, so he's going for the Zabaz.
Yep.
Just like I stated.
Yep. Very cool. And we're really seeing kind of like Aether Vial and D&T, we're seeing just how much more powerful the Scales deck is when it has Scales, especially 3.
So Tyler should be sacking off the Zabaz. I don't know what's going on here.
Maybe just Dan trying to confirm what's happening.
So, well, it's state-based actions. It dies. It's
Yeah, I think Dan is just trying to figure out it does more than anything.
Another alternative that could have been done is if you got a Springleaf from.
Sure.
Gives a boss flying. I think this is a much better play, but
yeah,
like I said, this was the play I would have gone.
Yeah. Putting 8 on the
there you go. Yep. Tyler's got it. Crunch.
Yep. And so now Dan probably just has to trade with Zabaz and put another 8 counters on this construct, right?
Well,
I don't think there's any reason to make Spellskite any bigger. Solitude. Might as well just...
Yeah, I think you just trade with the Zabaz, take 8, go to 2.
Yeah.
It's just tough.
Counters, I think, have to.
That's just tough. I think I would have just chunked the Spellskite.
Really?
I would conserve my life total a little bit, because really, doing this doesn't really change anything, right?
That's true.
I'm going to 2 now.
The Zabaz is dead, right? That should be off the board.
I believe Zabaz is 0/0. It does. It is a modular creature, which all have 0/0.
Okay, there's a Risen Reef.
Zabaz the Glimmer Wasp is a 0/0. Yeah, it should be dead.
Yeah, we need to clean that up. Unless we're missing
If Danny's
something.
listening, he could let them know that Zabaz is dead.
Yeah, we should be pausing the match here because that's also going to trigger and put counters over here, which again was confusing. Yeah, that should be dead.
Danny's correcting.
But there's a trigger. Hold on. We should remind our player of the trigger here because everything was all messed up. There we Yes. Good. That is what the board should look like. 8 counters there.
It does not have... It should only be... it shouldn't even be 8. It should be 7.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, and this is why putting...
I think he legitimately thinks it's 8. It is actually 7 because Zabaz has a static ability while it's in play.
Yeah.
And a lot of his Scales players, even Leo, who's a seasoned Scales player, misreads Zabaz.
Sure. Confusing card.
It is.
A lot of stuff happening.
Incredibly powerful.
And so Tyler gets game 2 here, has that busted draw.
Well, and we should talk about why that is, because it was the raw power of Hardened Scales itself.
Yeah, that's what I was. I was saying how much like Death and Taxes with Aether Vial, Hardened Scales just takes this deck from like medium tier to insane, especially when you have 3 copies, which is a lot better than Aether Vial. Obviously, you don't want 3 Aether Vials.
And I want to point something out. Literally, he's not put Lurrus in his hand.
One time. Because the only time he's probably putting it into his hand is when he's losing.
So this is again a deck building. I wouldn't say it's a deck building error. It is a choice that the player makes.
But you have to recognize, when am I Lurrusing? Is it good? Is it benefiting me?
Leo was targeting the 2K. Leo made top 8 with Scales.
Yeah.
And I walked over in his quarterfinal match. He had Lurrus in play.
Okay.
And he said to his opponent, "This is the one time I've ever put Lurrus into my hand or into play." And that was a 7. Was it 7 rounds?
Yeah. And he lost that match.
7 rounds. And, yeah. And that was against, but that was against Control, which is already a horrendous matchup.
Yeah.
And Lurrus is meant for that matchup. And it doesn't help. I would much rather just make my deck more impactful.
That makes sense. Yep. Pretty exciting here for Tyler, though, getting a game off hand. So we're getting a game 3, and this is, a potential grudge match, like we said.
I'm unfamiliar with the sideboard of the Elementals deck. Do they have a really clean answer to Scales other than the ending?
If Dan is still playing a single copy of Foundation Breaker, you have that. He probably isn't because he's not playing Flamekin Harbinger, which is why I was still on Foundation Breaker, as I could tutor it up.
Well, that just seems good. That's just good deck building.
Well, yeah, and again, let's credit Canister for the good deck building, because I got all the original ideas from him, and then I just kind of tweaked it from.
Is he a good player?
He's all right. He's all right. Yeah. But that game, like I was talking about at one point, imagine had that lightning bolt been a Flamekin, Dan could have just, on turn 1, Fetch, Shock, Flamekin, set up the Reef.
Remember when we were talking about the Zombies deck, how it had a little too many spells in it? It's a creature deck. Let's make sure it's a creature deck.
Yeah.
Elemental, same problem.
Yeah.
We're putting too many spells in. Just your creatures are your spells.
People are also getting, like, a lot of people have been playing 4 Muldrifter. A lot of people have been down to 23 lands. I don't like either of those things.
Greedy.
4th Muldrifter, come on. The deck draws so many cards.
Well,
why do you need a 4th Muldrifter?
You're a Omnip deck, so you want the lands. I would want the extra lands.
Right.
Trigger landfall.
Literally all of my losses, we can go back and if I had that 2K match against Tron. Literally both games 1 and 3, my mana lost me the game both times. It was like nothing else. I got Karned and Ulamog, and I still almost won game 1. I would have won game 1 had I seen a single fetch land in like 5 cards, which really just speaks to the power of elementals, but also just how important land drops are in this deck. You need your lands. They're crucial. I mean, so many games are won and lost to mana. So we're going to see Dan here. I'd imagine this has got to be a Sprawl. Nope.
That is an animation module in play, by the way.
What did Dan? I don't understand. What is going on here? So Dan's, I think, resolving is he resolving a fetch?
I'm not sure. I think.
Was Dan? He must be, right? Because
Dan. Why did he shot?
Dan was on the play, right?
Okay, so he is declaring to his opponent by doing this, I have Ephemerate. But he doesn't do anything with it.
That's a bad play. It's just horrendous.
And you can see he does have the Ephemerate plus Solitude.
And remember, folks, it's Dex Autopilot. Dan says so himself. If we do get him over here for autopiloted it, shocking and doing nothing with the mana.
He actually doesn't have another land. I think.
What is Dan doing? What was this key?
I don't know. He kept it on the back of Solitude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Is that it? Why the heck? So, like you said, he very clearly added, right? So he probably has Solitude Ephemerate, but yikes. Huge yikes.
So
had to have named Blue on this sprawl, I'd imagine.
So now if I'm in Tyler's position, I'm like, okay, number 1, I know my opponent's got Ephemerate plus probably Solitude.
100%.
I'm going wide.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's go, Tyler.
Close the door.
Now, does Dan have an ending is the question. And
close the door.
Dan probably has an ending, which is unfortunate for Tyler.
Well, it is. I mean, you could say it's unfortunate, but that's an ending that's going after a
Torpor instead of something.
Yeah.
Hopefully, sorry, I am a little biased here. I would like to see the grudge match go in Tyler's favor. That'd be kind of exciting. If Tyler beats Dan, does he get a pack for beating a Swish member, or are we not doing that?
No, that's not yet.
Only the bounty.
Not yet.
Okay. That'll be coming in a few weeks for those.
Won't be a pack, it'll be a prize.
It'll be some sort of prize.
I tell you what, though, every time I see Tyler play in this deck, because he always plays it every week, I'm like, man, I want to play Scales. I love
kind of like
deck.
when I saw people playing D&T.
Yeah, I love the deck.
Oh, God.
I love the deck. Just
everybody's having my fun. I hate this.
Give me a hardened Scales. Let me play.
Yeah. What is that
That's
there? Arcbound.
Did I explain why it's Barkbound Ravager?
No.
It's the
dog picture?
It's the RPTQ promo.
Okay.
It's a dog. He's the best boy.
Fair.
I don't like this play. I don't like this play at all. He's committing. Oh, okay. Actually, I take back what I said.
I was about to say, I actually, with Ephemerate not up, I like doing some.
He's doing this in response. He's keeping the Ink Moth up. Yeah, so because of Zaba's static ability, Power Depot. Oh, now see, I don't like this.
We should be keeping the Ink Moth animation up as an option, correct?
Yes, correct. Tyler's doing the. Remember, I said
he's using animation.
Go wide.
I like that.
I think we stop here. We stop on the sacrificing here. We say take 3, and then move on.
Be patient.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Dan's hand being like you said, it's very obviously Solitude Ephemerate. There's no way it's not Solitude Ephemerate. So we need to be very smart about how we go wide around this.
Yeah, and you have to think, Dan was on a mulligan to 6. So he had to keep it because it had some reasonable option. He used the Prismatic Ending. So you got to think to yourself if you're in Tyler's position.
Why else?
Why
would he
else
keep
would he keep this garbage hand?
Yeah,
because
it was a bad hand.
terrible. It's
I'm gonna go on a land. He shouldn't have kept this hand. This was too greedy.
You need minimum 2 lands. Minimum.
Or land sprawl. I can see land sprawl, especially on a 5.
But he drew the sprawl.
He drew the sprawl. Yes, he did.
Which makes the keep even worse.
Yes. And it's another reason I want our teammate to lose here, just because you deserve to lose when you keep hands like this. It's frustrating watching people.
So Dan has
do undisciplined things and get rewarded.
So what Dan should do here, and Dan is actually a pretty patient player.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to.
There's the foundation breakers. Still playing the singleton foundation breaker.
So this is what he should have done. Okay. Now if Tyler's smart, he's gonna say that's fine, and he's gonna put the counters
on the 1/1.
On the 1/1. Let's just diversify. Now what Dan should have done. Solitude Ephemerate right now. Snap it off. Your opponent's tapped out. Let's get the modular creatures out of the way.
The thing that's scaring Dan definitely is you would like.
I'm not a fan of opening it all on the Zabaz.
No.
So this opens you up for Ephemerate.
Solitude as well.
Excuse me, Solitude is what I meant. Now if he puts it on the counters on the on the servo, then he's got a 4/4 and a 3/3. And the 3/3, remember, Zabaz is basically a mini Archon Ravager.
And we can actually see Dan's hand right now. He has a Solitude. Here it comes.
That's
gone. He also has a Risen Wraith, which is going to be a game.
That's not. And again, if we
Tyler just not playing well, unfortunately.
But you know what?
He's learning.
I've made that mistake. I still make that mistake sometimes. I lost my way into top 8 of the first 2K for Galactic because I just was so tunnel vision. I just threw a hammer on the table and said, whatever, just put it on this one. And it was double hammer on something, and my opponent just went Solitude. I'm like, I know better. That's 11 damage I missed on the table.
You just didn't tank. Didn't tank long enough.
Just
got to pause and think sometimes.
And Tyler clearly was thinking, I'm just going to play this other Zabaz.
Right.
We're going to get more counters going.
We don't surprise the threats.
He's got to think.
Now,
he's got to think a little more.
And again, this is a mistake. He did pay the extra to get the extra serve. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to tell everything that's happening. Now,
we should get another paper servo counter in there. I know we do have a box.
We should, and we should also, the life totals, I'm not sure. I think those are probably changing here as well.
Those are correct.
Are they? Okay. Dan just took some of the damage, right?
He's going to be taking a total. He's going to be going 12.
Okay. Now, Dan does have
another servo.
Dan does have a Risen Reef in hand, so Tyler definitely should be hoping that Dan continues to miss lands.
Also has a Fury.
Yeah, and he just drew. He has double Fury, so he can pitch Fury, which is concerning.
This is a big blowout. And
because the Risen Reef
did play with just diversifying the threats.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, and like I said, he had the Reef.
Oh
he
no.
Drew another spell.
I believe a Sprawl. If I saw correctly.
So Dan is just gonna pretty much wipe the board here. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Fury, I think pitch Bolt, so he can Fury again later. Uh-oh.
Yeah. I think Dan should have been punished for this keep.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But Tyler made a very unfortunate mistake. It's a very minor play. I want to point that out. It was, and like I said, I've made that mistake before.
It's why the deck's so hard to play, is your opponent can do something undisciplined, but be playing a deck that is as powerful as Elementals, which oftentimes, because of how much raw power Elementals has, you can make mistakes like that, and you're not going to get as punished. Whereas when you're playing a deck like Hardened Scales, which is definitely not tier 1, and it's a very difficult deck to pilot well, as is Elementals, but when you're not playing the quote unquote best deck or the tier deck,
you have to play perfectly.
You better bring your A game when you're playing against the tier decks.
And for those who think that we're making too big of a deal on that play, I just want to put in a little bit of perspective. If he puts the counters on servo, the next turn he plays the second Zabaz.
Yeah.
Zabaz coming into play triggers the animation module to another 1/1.
Yeah.
Zabaz dies due to legendary.
Yeah.
Puts the 1/1 counter. Puts 2 1/1 counters on any target. You put it on the servo.
And then we make another one.
Roll again and make another servo.
Yeah.
So you're missing. So really, it wasn't just 3 points of damage. It was
who knows?
7,
yeah,
6, 5 points of damage.
It's hard to map it out.
And Fury isn't an out.
Yeah. And now Dan hitting that land drop, so now he can hard cast another Fury.
Yeah. This is just bad.
He's going to play the Sprawl first, that we know he drew. But yeah, probably going to be Tyler, barring something crazy.
He's playing another Sprawl, so yeah, you still got the 5 mana. You still got
the
the
Sprawl that
5.
you said he saw him all that, and now we know he has this other Fury.
Oh, he's putting Kihira to him. That's fine. Discipline play.
Wait, what is happening?
What is going on?
Oh, he's taking it back?
All right, we are locals, you know, sure.
Oh, no, he's just retapping.
Yeah, he's just retapping. I actually don't. I probably would have just done the Fury there.
Me personally, I would have out. Just
yeah, this was not. This was not smart because if Tyler draws like another Arcbound, that Ballista's really annoying.
I don't know. Does he have an right in hand with it? Because if he does, that might be what he's doing.
That's not even good though, right? Because if he does have he can respond to the Ephemerate, make the Ballista a 3/3, kill the Risen Reef with one of the counters, deal 2 with the attack because Fury obviously can't do it instant speed.
This attack is fine.
It is fine.
It has the
Bolts the token.
A little unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
I disagree with this play entirely. Entirely.
It's not a good play. Saving your 1/1 token is not.
2/2. It's got a counter.
Oh, I didn't realize because the counters have been everywhere all match. I'm very confused of what's going on.
And
I don't like this block at all. Actually, because it's a Ballista, it makes.
What you have to think is, what is Tyler going to do?
Yeah, Tyler's eventually going to save.
He's going to get 1 damage through, and then the minute Dan tries to cast anything, he's going to pop the Risen Reef anyway.
Tyler, he has 2 hangerbacks in his hand. This game's not over because all Dan has is a Fury. Fury's not great against hangerback.
Why didn't he cast? What is going on? I know he's got I saw he has a Veil of Summer, but I don't. Why? Number one, that shouldn't be in the deck.
No, absolutely. Because there's Teferi on the other side. You can't even cast it half the time. And the Elementals doesn't play black. Like, half the good, like, it's all red. It's all red and white removal. It can't even counter anything. Literally nothing.
So,
it can't stop Teferi because you can't cast spells at instant. I guess you could play it with a Teferi on the stack.
Literally 1 card in hand.
It's Fury.
It's Fury.
And, yeah.
If we had cast Hangerback Walker,
we had a good chance.
That Hangerback Walker gets big.
And because of the animation, we put a counter on it and make a 1/1 every turn. Huge misstep. Huge misstep from Tyler. First of all, why is Veil in your deck, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Think about what Veil does, dude.
And because he has 2 Hangerbacks, it makes the play that much worse because he could have just cast the Hangerback. And Dan is obligated that exact moment to just cast Fury.
And now he's playing another Ballista, which just still doesn't really make any sense, unfortunately.
And Tyler is a little newer to the deck.
He is.
Newer players don't understand the raw power of Hangerback.
It's just frustrating. Cheering for Tyler here. I want Tyler to win. But watching him, it's not. He and watching the teammate here who says it's a prismatic ending is what it looked like to me.
That is a huge misplay on Dan's part.
It is.
Why are we leaving the
animation module in? So we've got one player, folks. For those that maybe weren't listening to the beginning of this match, Dan Wharton says Elementals is autopilot. Autopilot.deck. Easy peasy. You don't need to think when you play Elementals.
Elementals.
I've been Elementals guy. I've been Elementals on the guy on the team, and I love the deck because it lets me make so many decisions.
I think this is first of all a match.
It is.
It's a shame that our game 3 is just full of so many
mistakes on both sides.
finally the hanger back shows up.
And I get why he waited. He wanted to. He wanted.
Please,
but
Tyler, just use the animation module.
Please, Tyler. Please, Tyler. Vale doesn't have text in the matchup. It shouldn't be in your deck.
Oh my god.
Whew. So
sad.
It is. It's rough, man. It's rough. Just mistakes left and right.
What?
Hard to watch.
Is
Dan looks like he's not doing anything. I don't understand what is going on from either player. Maybe Dan drew a solitude. It still doesn't make sense. That's a hardened skill.
Just almost off my rocker here.
He's about to lose it, guys.
And folks, Tyler with this hardened skills has a good chance.
This is not just a good chance.
A great chance because Dan has spewed off his prismatic ending, despite elementals being autopilot. Still made a spew, which is strange.
Oh my god, this hanger back. I gotta adjust myself in my seat a little bit.
See, I don't.
Here's a 3-2, right?
It is. I don't actually like the second hanger back here. I would have just put 2 counters on the first one and made a token, right?
I agree. Don't think he's gonna be punished by it.
Hopefully not. I really, obviously, sorry, Dan, no my team, but you think the deck's autopilot and you're playing it very poorly. I want to see you lose.
Your play is absolutely correct. Where Dan just passed. What? He had Fury, right?
Yeah. I don't know what's happening. I really don't understand what's happening.
Is the Cavern not naming elementals? Is that not a stomping ground in play?
There's a stomping ground. There are 3 Utopia sprawls, and there's a cavern. I don't understand what's going on either. Dan, autopilot. I mean, he's just on, elementals is easy.
Okay, Danny just confirmed. He doesn't have Fury in hand. He had 2 Furies. I don't know what happened.
I don't either. Maybe he used one when we were talking about the mistakes in the game. I have no idea.
Perhaps.
But, Dan in huge trouble here.
Oh, my God. That's okay. So for those watching, that's not just 2 counters. That's
it's pretty good. I really wish we were...
Actually, I think that's I think they actually underput the counters. That should be the boss comes in with 2 and then places 3. Oh yeah, that's right. 4.
So Dan's going to 1. I'm gonna be his hand. I don't know. Is Dan dead? Please be dead, Dan. Sorry, teammate. Really want you to lose. It's what you deserve. Okay. Cycling, nice.
This comes down to a bad keep.
Yeah, it comes down to a bad keep. It comes down to an undisciplined prismatic ending. It comes down to, just like you said, a pretty weak keep. The shock shouldn't have happened on turn 1.
He should be at 3 life.
Yeah, he should be higher on his life total.
And quite frankly, if he put that land in tapped, and maybe Tyler, because of that, knew about the solitude.
Yeah.
Me personally, if I was sitting across, and if you were sitting across,
100% ephemerate solitude.
Yeah,
ephemerate solitude. Why else? Especially when you when you do it on turn 1, it's obvious. It's just obvious telegraph that you have ephemerate.
When you're playing a deck like elementals, because everything is a 2-for-1, you need to capitalize.
And Tyler wins. We're gonna get him over here. I want you to do most of this interview because you're scales guy. You can do some lines with him. I'll obviously talk to you.
Sideboarding here? I gotta know. I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. Doesn't that give a guy hexproof? I think that might be a snakeskin veil or something like a snakeskin veil, which actually seems sick. Snakeskin veil's good. Veil of Summer is trash.
It might be snakeskin veil.
Snakeskin veil's good. That makes sense. Veil of Summer is horrible.
I'll be honest. I'm just too used to the Mystical Archive art.
Right. It has a few arts.
It is a snakeskin veil.
It should be. That's a great card. Love boarding that.
I think
absolutely sick at Veil of Summer. We're going to get on him a little bit. Cannot bring that card in.
Veil of Summer is a little weak right now on Modern.
Well, it's certainly weak against elementals. All the cards are white and red that are dealing with the things, and they play 3-mana Teferi. Like Veil's not good against Teferi Teferi Time Revel.
Yeah,
it's just not good.
Pretty weak.
Terrible.
Pretty weak. That whole game.
You'll have to talk through some of the lines with him for sure, and because like you said, he's a young guy learning how to play the deck. He'll continue.
He
to
does
improve.
love the deck too.
Well, yeah, and clearly he's 3-0. The deck's pretty good.
Definitely not, as Dan would say, autopilot.
Yeah, autopilot deck couldn't get the win here. It was impossible Dan couldn't have played this game any better. Autopilot.
I think it comes down to
it was variance. All variance. Very unlucky.
So, from your position, so the turn that he cast the Foundation Breaker, he destroyed Arcbound Rail.
Right.
So
we should have gone Fury Ephemerate.
Well, I got another one.
Okay.
So she just Fury Ephemerate.
That was one of the huge mistakes of the game, was not Fury Ephemerating. And here comes Tyler. It's coming over.
And of course,
we're
based
gonna
on
start talking.
how you stack your turns.
Right. Come, just sit right here, man. So Tyler's over. We're gonna interview him. That was quite the match there, Tyler. Pretty interesting one. How does it feel to beat Dan this time on camera?
It felt pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, I bet it did.
I think it's the first time I went 3-0 so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Sweet, man.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So talk us through that game 1. There was a moment where you could have put your Ink Bomb Nexus to make it a 5/5.
Well, I was just thinking, like, in case you evoke the
Solitude.
Fury or Solitude.
Yeah. Fury can't get Ink Bomb.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking Solitude.
Sure.
Yeah, makes sense.
Sure. Yep. We were talking about just because you're making the commitment, just fully commit.
Right.
I don't think it ended up costing. I think we won game 1, didn't we?
No,
we lost game 1.
I lost game 2 because
game 2 was the triple hardened skills draw.
Oh.
Yeah.
Game 2 was trip hardened skills, and then game 3 obviously is what we just saw.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, what was the reasoning by casting the second Hangerback Walker? Because Steven and I had a line where we just pass the turn. We don't even attack with the Hangerback Walker. We attack with our servo, pass the turn, and then the end step, we just, respecting the fact that it could be a Fury. So, and if he's got Fury, he board wipes us. We could just tap the Hangerback Walker, put more counters on it, and create servos.
I think I was trying to hold up for because I had the
Veil
of Summer, so I can draw a
so
card.
we were talking a lot over here on stream. I don't know how much you've played against Elementals.
That was like the second or third time I played.
So Elementals doesn't really play any blue or black interactions. So Veil of Summer should definitely not be stop Fury.
Right, I wasn't thinking about that part.
That's fair. So yeah, Snakeskin Veil's hot. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
very
I love that card.
I do love.
Very good in the matchup.
Yeah, that card won me a couple games.
Oh, I'm sure it has. I wouldn't even like if I'm playing Elementals against you, I wouldn't expect Snakeskin Veil. That would blow me out.
Yeah, it's just a one of in that sideboard.
You might even want to make it a 2-of. We were talking about how Veil of Summer really isn't that good in Modern right now. It's good against exactly like Dress Down Shadow, probably.
I think it's not very good right now because of the rise of Prismatic Ending.
Right.
Prismatic Ending being the best removal spell.
And like, there's not a lot of Fatal Push.
Fatal Push is dropped out of the
like Blitz is wild right now, so there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where Snakeskin Veil gets around all that.
Yeah, Snakeskin Veil is going to cover you from
Now, I'm not going to lie with you. In that game 3, I got out of my seat a little bit when you cast that Torpor. I thought the game was over.
Well, I knew it was too excited because Danny Boy has 2 mana and probably has a Prismatic Ending with a 6.
I almost fell on my chair when the hardened skills came into play.
The hardened skills, yeah. Then you were really excited. You were like, "Oh boy, here we go."
It's over. Just close the door.
But yeah, Andrew, I don't know how much you know Andrew, but Andrew is like artifact aggro guy on Team Swish. So he knows a ton about hardened scales and affinity and various other aggressively tilted artifacts.
The only thing that I could maybe give a pointer on that match was in game 3. I don't think, and Steven agreed with me on this, you didn't capitalize on the animation module enough.
Right, yeah, I realized that.
But the counterpoint is Dan didn't respect the animation module enough, and it cost him the game.
He should have ended the module.
Because you ended up getting 4 or 5 servos off that thing. Yeah. And though the servos are 1/1s, they became 2/2s. They cost them the Kahira.
They're just more things.
Incremental damage.
They're just more things. Like Fury killing 4 1/1s off an animation module is effectively a 2-for-1 on your end because not even literally dealing with 1/1s that came from animation. It's going to get more.
Now, one card I'm curious if it's in your list or not because we didn't see it. Is Throne of Geth still in the list?
I have a 1 of in that.
A 1 of. Okay.
It seems like 1 of team would be the regular.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a pretty good card.
Good card.
Oh,
good card. For those who don't know, it's Sack and Artifact Proliferate, which is pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with skills on the field.
Especially with skills.
And with hanger bag.
Yep.
That's when it's like
And,
really good.
And fast forward Urza Saga as well.
Yep.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
You can. Are you playing the power cert or there's a card that eats counters?
Yeah, power. It's like power conduit.
Yes. Are you playing
No,
that?
I am not.
Okay.
Is
I agree. The card's bad.
Okay.
It's a 2-mana card that removes counters. You can use it to remove counters off the saga.
Like Hex. And like
Hex Parasite's better.
Hex Parasite does the same thing.
Yep, Hex Parasite's better because it found off the saga.
Yeah, that seems hot.
And it doesn't. Yeah, and it keeps you done over and over.
Correct.
It can also eat counters off walkers and things like that. It can be really relevant.
Yeah.
Really relevant.
Yep. In Affinity I was playing last week, killed a Karn Liberated by just eating all the counters. Like, ow.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. Hex Parasite is a nice card. Okay, and it looks like we've got our players. It looks like George here again for our final round. So thanks for talking with us, Tyler. Hopefully you get that 4-0, dude.
4-0.
You can
represent skills.
Yeah, you can be the bounty next week. So good luck to you, man.
Thank you.
All right, so we have Mr. George Hannenbahn back with his blue-green upheaval deck.
And Kyle Gonzalez. I think might still be on Jeskai Phoenix.
Oh.
I think underplayed modern right
It's
now.
really cool.
Jeskai Phoenix is, Larry and I were talking at the 2K how probably wasn't going to see it because people didn't have the cards yet.
Right.
Yeah, it was like 24 hours.
There was messed up.
Funny enough, I believe Gonzalez actually was playing it at that.
He was.
And he was the only player in the room on it.
He was. There was a couple points. He was new to the deck.
Of course.
And he was coming up against some interactions where he wasn't aware of them.
Yeah. That's one of the downsides is picking up a deck right away week one when the cards just come out. Right, you're not going to get to test it a ton, and you're probably going to miss some of the interactions.
And for how much people said Phoenix was an autopilot deck, and at times it was the old Phoenix deck where you could just like go off with Thing in the Ice. Sometimes it was autopilot, but
I feel like people just use that term way too often.
Do.
I've never felt like literally any deck I have played is autopilot. Like, even Boggles, there are quite a few decision points in Boggles.
I think it's a term people need to stop using because Burn is quote unquote autopilot.
Yeah, it's just wrong. I mean, there's a reason.
Burn is one of the decks that has some of the most decision points of any
deck. You play all instants. Half your cards are instants.
For instance, if you want to talk about somebody who's getting punished by doing the autopilot route, Larry, when we were doing the team event in Indianapolis, played against Burn when he was on Miracle. Won the match because his opponent drew and cast a spell. Just wouldn't wait. Wouldn't be patient. Doing the quote unquote autopilot thing and just playing your spells.
That's not how you play.
And Larry ended up winning because
it's not how you play. It's not how you play Magic. You don't just throw your spells on the table. That's not how this game typically works.
But I think Phoenix in general got a bad rep because people were saying that.
Right. This is totally not right at all.
But all the top players were playing it. And there was a reason because there's a lot of decision points, and
there's a reason.
It was just good.
And at that time, it was good, really good in standard at one point. And at that time, Owen Turtenwald actually was just rolling.
It's still top tier not modern Pioneer.
Oh yeah. It gets treasure cruise in that format. You want to talk about nasty?
With Jeskai Phoenix, I think it's a little bit more messed up than even the old Phoenix was because the old Phoenix, as long as you answered the Thing in the Ice. Yeah. Thing in the Ice was an onboard trick.
They still playing Thing in the Ice?
They are not. They're playing 4 copies of Demi-Lich.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Demi-Lich?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Casting it from the graveyard, messed up.
Pretty sick.
Consider, messed up card.
Pretty sick.
Faithful Mending, pretty good card. A lot of cards that, they're just good on paper, good in theory, and then when you add them all together, they're really explosive.
I almost feel like the Jeskai Phoenix deck in the board should still be playing a play setup Thing in the Ice because I actually like maybe boarding Demi-Liches out in game 2s and 3s because your opponents are already going to attack your graveyard really hard because of the Phoenix plan.
I agree.
So I like staying on the Phoenix plan in most matchups, but then getting on this Thing in the Ice plan.
There also is a really interesting card that came out of
the 04.
Yeah.
It's slower. It's slower than Thing in the Ice, but it is certainly
I like it a little bit more. I think
it could be. I don't know for sure.
But Larry, you actually, everyone knows you as Dredge Guy and Burn Guy. You played a lot of Phoenix.
I did play a lot of Phoenix.
So, what do you think of the Jeskai Phoenix? Are you familiar with the list?
I mean, I'm familiar with the list. The list is cool. Obviously, it's not going to have them explosive faithless looting hits.
Right.
This is going to be more of a slower. You're going to have to grind your way. You're going to have to earn.
You're not going to see You're not very often going to see the turn 2 get double or triple Phoenix back, which sometimes Blue Red did in the past. But you might be able to see it on turn 3 still. So we'll kind of see what happens.
Oh,
both our players are
salvaging.
Exactly. That's the
so.
one. That's the one they're playing instead of faithless looting.
Which actually.
Sprawl. Okay.
Pretty ridiculous.
Both our players here are 2-1 actually too. I think when they came over, I said they were 3-0. So they're actually fighting for their store credit lives here.
George is really, really big on the screen.
He loves it, man. He's always loved. I mean, he let me borrow mono green before Upheaval came out years ago when we were playing over at Gaming Warehouse.
Well,
he used to loan me the mono green deck, and I love playing.
Well, Steven, you and I met at our local game shop, Goldmine, back in the day.
Yes.
And remember George back in the Goldmine days? All he played was mono green.
Yep.
Mono green Primal Command combo.
Yep, and that's the
Primal Command control.
That's the deck I borrowed from.
And this is basically that.
It is, but now it has up.
Yeah.
Very cool deck. Primal Command is a really underrated command. People don't realize how nuts that card is.
Probably, I wouldn't even say probably.
It is
the second
best. Easily.
Yeah,
I think.
The number of games that I have lost because my opponent just continuously loots the Primal Command, it's
the play.
It's devastating.
Yep. And I was even thinking about, I never did this, but I was thinking about at some of those FNMs when I was borrowing this deck to actually play a Teamer Sabertooth deck. So you can just like infinite. You just keep bouncing the Eternal Witness over and over and over again with Sabertooth. And then
it's just another layer to the fold.
Right, another layer to the fold. And then I never did this either, but it would have been really fun playing Emrakul to Aeon's Torn. Because then you just get infinite turns as well. The game's just over if you hit if you Primal Command for the Sabertooth and get to enough mana to do the Emrakul.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
because this
really
can generate a
lot of mana. A lot of mana if left unchecked.
Now,
is it good? No, probably not. But it would have been fun.
But here's the thing: people don't give this the mono green control strategies.
They don't give it enough respect. It is a reasonable deck.
When we have a local grinder, Michael Nielsen. That's all he plays, and he's got my number. I can't beat the guy. I literally can't beat him. But people give him, they're like, oh, it's a pile. It's a pile. It is a pile. However, sometimes and
we're getting Bird back here.
Beat people because they're not giving you or deck enough respect.
And George kept kind of a slow hand here. Haven't been super impressed thus far. We'll see if he has any big play on turn 4. Kyle had a nice start. And there's a Demi-Lich back. Let's
George
go.
is a very reserved. He plays his cards close to the chest. He's not going to just lay his hand on the table. Even when he plays Storm, he's very conservative.
What is this?
That is a Venser. Shaper Savant.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Bounce the Demi-Lich. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
You know what though? I think I would have bounced the Phoenix. Yeah, you can bounce the Demi-Lich. That's fine. He doesn't want the flashback. I get
he's
that.
afraid.
But I believe I saw Faithful Mending on turn 2. He can cast Faithful Mending, or Kyle can cast Faithful Mending. Just bin the Demi-Lich, and it's insane.
I like that. That's fair.
We just need to get a couple Manamorphos and just wreck people. Larry knows a thing about Manamorphos.
I'm a little surprised here that Kyle did not fetch before the Thought Scour. I would have liked that. You want to mill spells, bird or spells, and so I like just getting a land thinner.
I'll tell you what I don't like: George's timing on the Venser.
Yeah.
His flash.
Yeah, they don't play counter spells.
Let's
at least not in game 1. Not that I.
Yep. Let's let our opponent commit more cards, right?
Oh boy,
And
that's
then
another Demi-Lich. That's another bird. Things are looking bad for Mr. George here. Oh, buddy.
Mending.
I hope he has upheaval in his.
He can't cast it yet. He's at 4 mana.
I know.
Poor George. Poor George.
I don't think it's a great matchup. I think his deck definitely. Everyone's gonna say it's cool. It's cute. It's cool. Right. Obviously, he's 2-1 for a reason.
Right, and he 2-2'd our last one. He lost his win in D&T, Death and Taxes.
I think it's a horrible matchup.
And I said that as well, but he informed me. George informed me that it is one of his better matchups, actually. And despite me in the past beating him, Glen Alendra, that's kind of cool.
That's one of my favorite.
That's a good card.
One of my favorite blue cards.
It's a good card. Now, I think, and what we're seeing too, like I said, George kind of kept a slower hand. He had one sprawl. I would have wanted more ramp in this matchup. Now maybe
where's the Garuk? There's no Garuk. There's nothing.
Right. He didn't know. I assume he didn't know his opponent was on Jeskai Phoenix, so maybe that's why he kept a somewhat slower hand. It seemed.
I think you counter this mending.
I think I agree with you. Yeah. Don't let Kyle set
It's
up.
too risky to let him. Oh my gosh, is that 3 bolts in his hand? I think it is.
That's.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
That's big
If I'm
game.
Kyle,
Just send.
Send, and then you get the trigger, the persist trigger on the stack. Bolt. Let's move on.
Yep.
Opponent.
George seems pretty dead to me. Come
Kyle's
on,
doing a little
He
thing.
doesn't look alive.
The ultimate mistake from Kyle here would be right now. That would be a horrendous.
And I
error.
just got confirmation from Danny. It is 3 bolts.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like 3 bolts. Very nice, beautiful GP bolts in his hand. Just all 3. Just pretty.
Not the player reward bolts.
I don't care. I like the GP bolts, dude. They're nice.
Oh.
I was actually really happy when they were passing those out. I thought it was a really cool GP promo.
Good promo. Good promo.
Not as good as Progenitus.
Not as good as Stoneforge Mystic.
Or Batterskull. Batterskull was a pretty good one too.
You know, fun fact, because I mean this game's over. Just
Yeah.
something else. But fun fact, did you guys know that the GP promo was not originally intended to be Stoneforge Mystic?
What was it supposed to be?
Sword of Feast and Famine.
Oh,
There
my.
is a promo art of Sword of Feast and Famine. They printed a small number of
Small
copies,
number.
and they go for a very high price tag.
Bet they do.
They are the, if you guys remember, a new sword art is where they're all holding the sword up.
Yeah.
That's what it is with Sword of Feast and Famine. It's the double-edged sword that you see on Moto.
Now, if you're Kyle, we just go for it here because
I
George has
disagree
to.
with this. Why would we let the...
Well, George has to fetch shock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And we
because
just
it's a
shot.
burden. Yeah.
In response to fetch. Just
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Yeah, that works too. I would have not, because if George was heads up there, he just doesn't fetch and goes to untap.
Yeah.
Then he has a blue mana to actually use on the. So
I mean, Kyle's play of just going bolt and then fetch. I mean, you realistically could have let him go like and fetch shock and then sack the Glen and then you just bolt him again.
Right.
That's technically, if we want to get technical,
Yeah.
that's technically the best line because it's removing the blocker. But I mean,
So
I'm of the favorite just bolt him to the face.
I would imagine George is probably going to bring an Obstinate Bailoff for that life gain again. We saw D&T. I think it's a lot better here than it is.
Oh,
in
it's a
D&T.
little, just slightly.
Much better, actually. Again, George, just like last time, just like with elementals, you can't keep these hands without some quick ramp. You gotta
Danny
ramp.
just gave me confirmation on what he's bringing. 4 copies of Endurance.
Oh, that's good. It's very good.
Hear good things about that card.
And this is why
Is that card
I would be
playable?
boarding out Demi-Liches and bringing in Thing in the Ices if I were playing this deck, or the Dragon Egg that we talked about.
Yeah.
You need threats that don't rely on your graveyard.
So the
post
reason
board.
I like the we should go over the differences of the Thing in the Ice versus the Dragon Egg.
Yeah.
So the Thing in the Ice, basically the cards do the exact same.
Very similar.
They how they start out. They're both 0-4s when they start.
Yep.
The Thing in the Ice is when you cast 4 instant sorceries.
It'll flip.
It'll flip.
And
bounce
Dragon Egg.
all the non-horror creatures.
Yeah.
Reason I don't.
Smoldering Egg is the
Yep.
egg that we're talking
You're
about.
right. Smoldering Egg is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery.
Add
Put
counters.
counters
Yeah, you
onto
put
it.
counters on it equal to the CMC of the CMC you spent to cast
And
the
it's
spell.
7, I believe.
It's 7. Once you hit 7, it turns into a 4/4 flyer that whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, shock anything. Shock anything.
So on paper, Thing in the Ice is a better card
Because it flips a little
faster.
quicker, and it's a 7/8, so you
Correct.
technically don't need any more
So
commitment.
the reason I like the Dragon Egg a little more is because yes, the commitment's a little bit higher, but you're not low to the mana curve like you were
Right.
with the regular Phoenix.
And arguably, it actually flips just as fast in some scenarios, if not faster. For example, you play Egg, and then on turn 3, you go Morphos, flashback of Faithless Mending or something. If there's
Well,
a
the
Faithless
Mending's
Mending.
2. Mending's 2. So
Well,
that's
it's how
only
much
6.
mana you spend. It's
Oh,
not.
it's not CMC.
Yes,
Oh.
because in Standard, I wasn't aware of this either. I was playing some this weekend, and when you flashback a Deluge, it just flips because you spend
That's
7
just
mana.
disgusting.
It's insane. It
But
is insane.
I think so. And another reason I prefer the Dragon over the Thing in the Ice, I think a 4/4 flyer is much better than a 7/8.
that can.
Correct.
That's the
reoccurring
huge
damage.
upside. It
The
lets you kill the. It's kind of reminiscent a little bit of 6 mana Niv Mizzet. What it did in Standard. If that card hit board and you untap, you're just killing everything.
Yeah.
Everything is going to die. It's just going to take over games. I mean,
yeah, and in both those cards, you know what I mean? They're going to die to the same spells, but I do like your idea of setting out the Demi Liches because Bolt is a huge player against the Phoenix Man, especially with Demi Liches in play because you can just bolt those out of it.
Yeah.
But you can't bolt the egg.
You can't bolt thing in the ice, can't bolt the egg. So yeah, I think moving forward, I would really like to see the deck definitely something that doesn't rely on the post board as a threat. It could be a lot of things. We could play cards like Poppet Stitcher. We could play cards like Monastery Mentor. We could play cards like Aria of Flame. We need threats that don't rely on the graveyard post board, though.
I don't think Aria of Flame is the card
Probably
that you
not.
want to play. I think, and I know a lot of.
It's gotten so much worse because of Prismatic. Again, we bring up Prismatic.
That's true. That's true.
Again.
But I think a lot of Phoenix players are going to, they're going to be tunnel vision. What was the old Phoenix deck like? And I was watching Aspiring Spike because he was the one that innovated on this deck.
Yeah.
He made a comment that this is not the old Phoenix deck.
Right.
It's much higher to the ground.
It's a new deck.
It's a new deck. You got to treat it like a new deck. And he said he would not play Aria of Flame for the same reason I would. It's a 3-mana commitment, and your CMC is much higher.
Yeah, because we don't get to play Faithless Looting anymore. It's a big deal.
Yeah, Aria's gonna be hard to get off the ground. You might not have time once you give them 10 life, and just feel how awful that would feel if you give them 10 life. You're higher,
and then
ground,
it gets
so
ending.
It's gonna take a while to get it
very bounced.
And then when you finally are about to get it going, and Teferi bounce. Oh my God, that'd be a nightmare.
Barf.
So if George has the best turn 1 play in Arbor Elf,
we need a sprawl. We need a sprawl into Garrick time. That's what I want to see. Sprawl
my gosh, if he has the real nuts, which is double the double sprawl, where you put 2 sprawls on the same land, and then you get to it actually generates let's see. There we go.
There's the sprawl.
So he's got access to 4 mana.
4 mana at the moment.
So we could tap it, generate 2. If he's got another sprawl,
then it's going to be 4 total.
Yeah, you still have 4 total.
Because you have mana floating and then you untap it. Now I just want to see a Garrick, baby. Let's go. Garrick.
Bang.
Garruk. Garruk plus.
Bang.
Garruk. Garruk. A breeding pool. See that. Is that a Garrick?
That is a Kiora, Behemoth Beckoner.
I have no idea what that one does.
I'm glad that I do.
Good.
So it starts at 7 loyalty.
Oh, is it the one that
untapped target.
And it's the one that draws cards if you cast creatures
with power 4 or greater. So
it's gonna make those Baymoths look really good.
May have looked like George really didn't do much on that turn.
Oh, he did a lot.
But he did a lot. So he had 4. He actually had 1 mana floating.
I love that.
Yeah,
ending the sprawl. Do we have a bolt for this elf as well? Actually, he was on the draw, so he's not going to get to play a red source.
Ooh, doesn't have a land.
That's bad. That's pretty
really bad. So George has right now access to 5 mana.
Yes.
And all this deck wants to do, for everyone watching, all this deck wants to do is just make mana.
Generate mana, and then play big stuff.
Just big. What he's going to do is going to generate a lot of mana, upheaval the board, recast everything.
Yep. And for those that have played any amount of Vintage Cube,
upheaval is a nightmare.
They probably are aware of what upheaval does and how insane that card can be. Now let's see here from George. What he really wants this turn is a primal.
really excited when upheaval was spoiled in prizes.
Oh, I'm sure he did. It's a very George card. Now, I think what he really wants here is a primal command, and that's what that is. And so, see you later. Put that on top, please. I'm going to go get an Eternal Witness effect to doing this to you. Oh, he's getting an Endurance. I don't know that I like this. I don't think Endurance matters yet.
This says to me he's got the list.
He better.
Now, I'm wondering if George in his list is playing the Timeless Witness.
He is.
Well.
He is.
Oh, that's excellent. That card is underrated.
I was watching him and Noah play. Not Noah. My mind's blanking. He's the one that helped us with broadcasting that day.
Drew.
I don't know why I cannot remember Drew's name to save my life.
It's all right.
But I was watching Drew and him play. Drew was playing this Shadow and stuff.
Okay.
It's not a very Drew deck.
Yeah. He was playing both of the E-Wit effects.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like what your Nemesis was doing.
Okay.
Oh, Michael Nielsen.
Now, yeah, George better have that E-Wit. Okay.
Okay.
I'm
okay with this.
It's fine. It's fine. I think
George
we just
recognizes the fact that the Faithless Mending is a instant speed. You got to respect the instant speed.
Here's my concern with this play though. I feel like we're playing a little too passively, and we're letting our Phoenix opponent potentially set up and hit land drops and kind of get back into the game. Kyle's a smart dude. He's not just gonna put all his stuff into the yard.
What I told Larry during the 2K, there comes a time where you just need to put your boot down.
Pyromancer's Ascension. I like it. I don't like, though, that is another graveyard-based threat.
And that came out of the board. It's a clear board card.
Right. And I really don't like that card, personally.
I don't either.
Why are we playing more cards that rely on the yard? That's not what we want.
That card is not what it used to be.
Right. It's a sweet card. Awesome. I love this card. I think it's a very fun, interesting card. But yeah, it's not going to do what we need it to. But here's the issue with George now. What are we going to do? Are we going to endurance yet? Or are we just going to keep waiting? And then we didn't do anything with our mana.
I think it comes down to a point where we got to just end up, like I said, put our boot down. We got to.
That's a Venser.
Like that.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's good. Now I get why. Now like it makes sense. Now it makes sense. Yep. 3.
Number 3. Put him to 15.
I had a sweet Pyromancer's Ascension deck or Blood Rains and stuff in my deck.
Ooh, okay.
I was going in Blood Raining triggers. It was a good time. We all had fun.
This is the Ascension again.
And George.
3 mana. Dispute.
Okay. I like it. It's a good play. Smart play. Let's just use our counter.
Yeah. That's a raw tempo play right there.
Yep. Use it before you lose it kind of thing.
What I don't think I loved necessarily attacking this elf, because now we can't do the endurance thing, which could be very relevant. Because imagine...
I do... So I'm going to agree with George's line on this one, specifically because I think if you attack with the elf, you're streamlining, you have something up.
Well,
it might deter your opponent.
Well, he knows. It's face up. George has 1 card left. It's the endurance. Right. Now we can't cast it in any way here. And the problem is, what if Kyle just goes Manamorphose 2 1-drops? He gets the bird back. Here it is.
That's fair.
Here it is. And, this is just...
I think this is a game that's going to be won by...
And that's a second more
points. Oh, I know. I wonder what colors he's naming.
Yeah, I mean, all he needs is a single spell now. Bird is coming back because
he's got the salvaging.
Yep. And this, so, if George gets tilted or whatever that he got unlucky, he did not get him. He needs to not. But he needs to not attack with elf.
This game is going to be based on single points of damage.
I think your
max. Me personally, my playset, I would maximize on the points of damage.
Well, maximizing on the points of damage is leaving up endurance because you're getting 2 extra points on the following turn because you're just committing to putting it into play, which I'm fine with there. Kyle had plenty. He had a bird. He had a.
You know what? Now that we're talking about it, obviously I'm going to agree with you, but
obviously I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
George, if this is Kyle's play, okay, this is Kyle's play. This is where he's making his stand, okay?
Yeah.
You can just trigger on the side, just put them all in there, or you can just let the bird resolve and then just block it. Let him commit everything and just block the bird.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a misstep in my opinion for sure. As I've made pretty clear. And now I've got Andrew on my side. Larry still thinks
he's won me over. He's won me over.
Larry still thinks I suck, so he's not going to agree.
Yeah, it's just the fact that you suck.
Yep.
I'm here for you, though.
We kind of talked through why I didn't like that play, and literally exactly why I didn't like that play happened. We got punished by multiple Morphos.
I also forgot that Mending gives life. Based on that effect alone, I hold up.
Yeah.
So, he played the rebound card.
He did.
Faithless Self.
Does that go in exile?
It should be an exile.
Yeah.
Danny, if you see and hear us here,
he's on it.
He's on it. Good deal.
That's relevant with an endurance.
Oh yeah.
Technically, though, he doesn't need to put it into exile.
That's true. If he doesn't want it in exile,
and I think George will call him on that. Though it is FNF, it's a local event.
It's a local event. I would agree. I would prefer to see it go, but if George wants to play Cutthroat.
Oh, no, excuse me. He discarded the Faithless Mending. Okay.
Oh,
so it was not cast. It was Mending.
Okay.
Our
Okay.
apologies.
We're
I
good.
told Steven.
We probably just tilted George by accident.
Oh yeah.
That makes me
Oh,
happy.
yeah, definitely.
Stop in the game.
Okay.
He
That
went.
was a really good top deck. Really good top deck. Love that. Dispute.
Don't love that.
I don't like.
Yeah, that's playing scared.
Yep. That's playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
Dang, endurance.
Yeah.
Nope, shuffles it, puts it at the library. Kept shuffling it back in his deck when we're practicing for the pit.
Does George play Primeval Titan? He has to.
I don't
believe
think he
so.
does. It
So-
ain't good because it's not worth the splash.
So now I got another question. Were we supposed to just
What?
so
It's an upheaval deck. Why would we not play?
I don't know. I didn't build it.
No, it seems so good. How
What,
are we?
He
How are we
couldn't
not playing?
He
Primeval?
couldn't fit
Isn't he
it.
play? I
He's
thought I
playing
heard.
Coma.
I thought
he's
I
playing
heard.
Coma?
He is.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
I mean, it's sweet, but are we playing? Isn't he playing Frost Titan in this deck?
I don't know.
If he is,
I heard he is.
he's my hero. That card's so good.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this right now. Steven, you agree with me? I assume you're gonna agree.
Okay. Good.
This endurance was poorly timed.
Yes.
So poorly timed.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we should have held it up last turn.
I agree. But
We've
no,
already
but-
been
but
over
on
that.
But on this turn, he cast it on his turn. It's
He's-
Flash.
He's playing so scared, dude. He's just playing really scared right now. He's worried.
The minute you go to
Here's the problem
combat,
too. He's playing even more scared now, probably because he already made a mistake, and he might realize that, and it might be tilting it. Last turn,
Right.
letting that.
and he's doing the play where he's just gonna be like, well, I'm just gonna correct it right now. I'm just gonna correct my mistake and do it right now, which
I
makes
get
it
it.
even more incorrect.
Yeah.
So, but what I would do if I was George is the minute Kyle goes to combat and attacks with the Phoenix, I put in the endurance, and most people would block. I'd be like, yeah, go to damage. Take 3. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna let my biggest.
Look, man,
Was he worried about counterspell of some sort?
I have no idea.
Oh my god, this is so bad. Yep. Okay. So now we just lost our best creature.
Yeah, George is.
So we were on a
Man.
prior to this, it was a 2-turn clock.
Yeah.
Now that's 4 part. This is a 4-turn clock.
5 power technically,
Excuse me, 5. It's a 3-turn.
but if there's a mending, it is a 4-turn clock. If Kyle ever sees a mending, Kyle should be at 8, I believe, unless I'm missing something.
Oh no. This is how it all starts.
Here we go, baby.
This tilt Andrew up the face of the earth.
You remember.
Dude, Morphos
When he
is a
changed-
busted
I
card.
don't know why
dude.
it's still legal.
I don't either, man. That is a card that is super also not okay.
Larry,
You want to
Larry
talk
still
about
remembers this day where I got tilted off the face of the earth when he cast
Dude.
3 in a row
On your turn.
on my
I
turn.
flip
I'm
my
like
thing.
so tilted. I was just like, he's just like, full. I'm like, just show me the 3rd one, or it was the 4th. That
Yeah,
one.
4th.
Oh,
one,
just
and
show
then
it to
I was
me.
like,
Because you got it. I know you do. Just show it to me. And he flipped it over. It was the last card in hand. I was like, I just didn't even let him result. I just picked up my card, signed the slip, moved on.
yeah, he was super angry because I remember he was activating and the ink monster tried to kill me, and I flipped my thing in the ice on him.
I don't know. I was putting the counters on to kill you.
Here's
Yeah.
another thing that I really don't understand: why George just continues to not use dispute. He's just refusing to play it, letting Kyle get more and more lands. Kyle's not going to get blown out by this. He knows it's there. There are 2 birds coming back.
So we should have at least counted.
Yeah, we might as well, right? Why?
I don't know. This
It
whole
let-
play is just bad.
It was not great. George is in huge trouble. He's going to 7 now. Going to 7, so he is just dead to a lightning bolt if he doesn't find something good.
Now I want to
In
point
fact,
out
he's dead to a gut shot
I
too,
wanna
which we've
point out
seen.
that if he kept up the endurance, if the endurance was still in play, this turn is lethal.
It's a Garrick,
I
but it's not
I gotta
doing
check
much.
again.
So I know how many people I need to tell them we have. I give her my blessing. If there's no hand, it's actually like George. It's me, Drew, these 3.
Yeah, George ain't probably gonna want to go game is going for him.
Especially not if you could hear this. But, you know, so George just doing what he has to do and attacking.
So,
if I'm Kyle here, I am flashing back this mending 100%.
So this is definitely worthy of mention. If he didn't block with that endurance, Kyle would be at -3 right now.
He'd be dead.
Didn't matter. It wouldn't even matter if he cast mending. He just would be dead. Creatures, sure, but a 3 power still shipping, opposed to
the problem is too you're trading with a Phoenix, which is just going to come back. Yeah,
which is why the Phoenix deck was so hard to beat.
Yeah,
is that a Garuk in play, by the way? We've been talking so much trash, and I had what's going on.
It is. Did Kyle flashback that mending end step?
Did George not make a beast?
I don't know what he did. He plussed it. He plussed it so he can use the ultimate next turn.
What's the ultimate?
The ultimate is Overrun. It's +3/+3 and trample to your team.
Counter argument.
Yep.
If he minuses to make a beast, Kyle's still dead.
Yeah, here's the thing. And there we go. That's a good dispute. And I think Kyle's dead. Unless he has a bolt. Kyle's going to try and block.
Casting Demi-Lich, I'm assuming.
Yeah, looks like it, which can also block. So, yeah, the game's not over here. And to your point, this is probably why we should have made a beast.
Yep.
Because if we had made a beast, this was lethal.
It's still lethal.
This was lethal had we made a beast.
And even so, if he doesn't attack the Garuk and he just holds up for blocks, that's even better.
Right. Then we just make another beast.
Yeah, we just make another beast. All this comes down to, I'm just going to make another beast.
Yeah.
Now, George, if he draws Primal Command, this could be insane.
He'll win. I mean, if he draws a Primal Command, he's just going to gain 7.
George technically is, I would say, if I was to say who's favored right now, I'd say George's favorite.
Very slightly.
He has the number of cards he could top deck and just win the game.
Here's the problem. Because he doesn't have lethal, if he attacks here, Bird goes in front of Elf, Demi-Lich goes in front of 2/1, you go to 1. Combat, send both birds dash back, gut shot, kill you. There's also a bolt, flashback bolt, kill you. So George actually right now is dead, the way the board sits, if Kyle blocks correctly.
He made a beast.
If he made a beast, he would have won the game. And that's the difference.
What did he? Oh, it's Catacombs. Okay.
George is dead. If Kyle blocks correctly, this game's over. Yep, and George is picking him up. He sees it. He sees he's dead. What a game. That was actually a really interesting game. But it came down to
the wire. Definitely
the wire. George played too cautious. I mean, I was saying that.
Well, like I said, he's a cautious player.
Yeah.
He's a very cautious
But it was
player.
definitely to his detriment that game. I feel like the first Primal Command should have gotten a Timeless or an Eternal immediately.
I'm just confused by the whole. I get the fact that you're like, okay, I'm representing Overrun, but just putting another body in play guarantees the win.
Because Bolt's killing you anyway. If your opponent has a Bolt, you lose.
Yes. Yep.
You're dead.
So I
just put it in.
I gotta think myself. What could my opponent draw or have that would allow him to prolong the game?
Brazen Borrower is good either way if he plays Borrower. Much better that game had it been played better.
I think one thing I can definitely say is
Are we not doing an interview for the last round? No interview for the last round?
I think one thing we can say before we leave is I think if you were to build this deck, this Jessica Phoenix deck, that's what Steve and I would do, is just put creatures to the sideboard. Yeah. But if you did do the Ascension, I don't think I could fault you for it, because right now, those high impact graveyard cards, Endurance, you could make an argument is a high impact. Don't think that's high
also
impact.
Like, think about there actually I'm trying to how does Thing in the Ice or like Smoldering Egg work against Dress Down? That'd be kind of weird.
Actually, I do know how that works.
Okay, how does that work? Flips?
Still 04. Anytime you cast anything,
what if it's already in play? What if the thing in the ice is already in play? And
it'll still have the counters.
It still has all 4 counters.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Sparksburg was doing the dress down thing in the ice deck for a while.
Oh, very cool.
Pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
I
just thought of it because okay. It's kind of an interesting interaction that I was thinking of there. But yeah, I mean, post board you definitely want some non-graveyard reliance because, and I feel like because of the way people are built, because people aren't doing that right now, people won't expect it either. And when you can play threats that people don't see coming, it's just really good, obviously.
Well, it looks like they're picking up the match, so we got to close it out.
Yep, we're going to close it out. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Appreciate it. Oh, and it looks like Kyle is coming over. You know what? We're gonna give Kyle a second for an interview. We got a little bit of time. How's it going, Kyle?
It's going.
What'd you think of that match there?
It made my head hurt a little bit.
Okay.
The thought of constantly getting endurance was kind of hard for me.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been making a big point over here about how we actually think in the sideboard there should be either 4 copies of Thing in the Ice or 4 copies of Smoldering Egg, instead of, like, say, the Ascension came out of your board, we assume, right?
Yeah. Well, the first one. The second one's main board.
The second one's main board, sure. We're just talking about how the deck right now, as it is, relies a little too hard on the graveyard with threats, especially
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I put in Ascension specifically to get around Soul Guy Lantern, Relic Virginia this time.
Sure.
Because I still get the cast trigger of the Ascension. Because not many people will be playing Rest in Peace and Void.
How sick would a flipped Smoldering?
I know. I thought about it. I thought about bringing it today. I have plenty of different sideboard things for this deck.
Smoldering.
It would be smoldering hot. It would be smoldering hot.
No.
Yeah. Have you played this matchup before?
Between George? I played him specifically.
Okay.
Not on this deck.
Not on this deck? Okay.
I've played his deck before.
What do you think of the matchup?
I think it's fairly I don't want to say I'm favored. I want to say it's more 50-50.
Really close, you think?
Yeah.
We were saying we thought George made a pretty big blunder in game 2 there about the turn where he attacked you with the Arbor Elf and only left 2 mana and couldn't cast the endurance.
Yeah.
And then you went Morphos, mending, here's my bird, get it back.
Yeah.
And
then he traded the bird with huge
the bird with the endurance in your bolt, which we thought was pretty awkward too.
Yeah, when I thought about the trading with the bolt and the bird, my one fear was like, well, if he top decks another endurance, I'm screwed.
You're probably screwed anyway.
Or if he top decks an Eternal Witness, I'm also screwed. That's like
but whatever.
7 cards.
If he top decks an Eternal Witness, you're probably in trouble. There were a lot of good. There was Primal Command in there, so you can he can still Primal Command you, exile your yard, gain 7, or shuffle your yard back in, or whatever Primal Command does.
That's right. That also has that.
Yeah, that's like the hidden mode of Primal Command is blow out graveyards. It's a really good card. I mean, Primal Command is sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, sweet match. Thanks for coming and doing a little interview. We're gonna pack up here pretty quick. Larry said don't do an interview at all, but when we saw you walking over, we just vetoed that decision. So.
Well, no, Danny just sent me over here.
Yeah. Just a little one. We have time.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely testing things around with the threats. I have Thing in the Ice. I have Smoldering Egg. I have Aria Flame.
Yep, we're talking about all those. So it'll be interesting.
Definitely testing it around.
Could be sideboard dress down as well.
Dress down would be kind of cool, especially if you go on the Thing in the Ice plan. Yep. Because then you can just 7/8.
7/8.
Go.
Yeah, that's what I thought about.
Very cool, dude. Well, thanks for coming over.
No problem.
Appreciated watching your match.
They're not even giving us time to wait.
No, they're just backing up.
All right. See you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching.